Has been well backed. $3.60 now into $3.30. The clear favourite on course. The drift has come for Puritan, $6 to $6.50. Mogador's 5 out to $6.50. Brockhoff 7 now out to $8.50. Popovich 7 to $8. And Santa Ana Lane 6.50 out to $9. Well, Brockhoff.
Tentative. They're away. Bassett, one of the best to jump. And away quickly too on the outside is Tuscany Hero. They're the two leaders in the early stages from getting through. Well sprung along the inside. Santa Ana Lane is settling down fourth. Just behind them, El Greco holding his place midfield on the rail from Brockhoff, who's over racing in the centre. And Odyssey Moon's out wide of pressing on. Back behind them, Star Planet, trailed by Mogador, Popovich and Puritan as last. Up the side they race, and it's Tuscany Hero pressing on, going to the lead, just over a length on Bassett, Well Sprung and Odyssey Moon. A link Santa Ana Lane, El Greco on the rail, followed by next Brockhoff on the outside, 5 off the leader, and then Star Planet, followed by Mogador. Popovich second last, Puritan as last. Up around the home turn now, Bassett was given his head and he's gone to the lead ahead of Tuscany Hero, Odyssey Moon, Santa Ana Lane. Then Mogador pulled to the outside in the straight, and Bassett the leader from Tuscany Hero giving a cheeky run on the inside. Then Odyssey Moon, Santa Ana Lane started to come home well. Next is Brockhoff down the outside, but Little Bassett out by about a length. Santa Ana Lane digging in hard. It's Bassett tackled by Santa Ana Lane. Brockhoff flying home. They come to the post. A photo finish. Santa Ana Lane dives in the middle. He's very prominent. Bassett on the rail and Brockhoff on the outside, and a three-way go ahead of Odyssey Moon, Well Sprung. Back behind those, Mogador, Puritan, followed then by Tuscany Hero, and back at the end is El Greco in company with Star Planet and Popovich.
Well, this is tight. I think Santa Ana Lane, he lunges. Brockhoff has got its head down on the outside as well, but Santa Ana Lane in the middle. Ben Mellum for Lee Fruben has got his head down at the right on course out to $10. Camped in behind the speed, got the split, and has just finished too strongly for Little Bassett, which was ridden perfect.
Six-time Victorian Trainers Premiership champion Angus Armanasco. He had many superstar horses through his 9 being simulcast into Hong Kong today. The Angus Armanasco, Pasadena Girl, $4.40, got to $4.60, now back to $4.40. Mosson.
And they're off. Starters caught them in a pretty good line, and Mosson around Kenya, the first two out ahead of Smoke and Bella. As they settle down, Purposeful next with Catch a Fire improving quickly out wider on the course, and they're followed then by Let Her Rip. A length and a half, Pasadena Girl midfield outside of Egypt, and they're followed 3 lengths away by Miss Wilson, the Grey Flash, Alaskan Rose. Pasadena Girl, the favourite, would be about 7 or 8 lengths at least away from the leader, and then Miss Wilson being followed by the Grey Flash, Alaskan Rose and Bengal Cat as last. 500 left to go, and Kenya the leader by a half. 2 on the outside, coming out after it is Catch a Fire. 2 lengths away, Mosson around Smoke and Bella. Here's Pasadena Girl coming around the outside, and then came Purposeful as they've entered the straight, and it's Kenya Narrative from Catch a Fire coming at her. Mosson around eases into the clear, and then Smoke and Bella, and wider Pasadena Girl. Catch a Fire at the 200 metres claimed the lead. Mosson around, getting onto its heels. Down the outside, Smoke and Bella, and Pasadena Girl is coming, but Catch a Fire dashes away up from a maiden and robbed it in. Mosson around second, close third. Maybe Pasadena Girl, Kenya, and just off them Purposeful battled away well. They're followed by Smoke and Bella. Alaskan Rose made some late ground out wide with Miss Wilson. Back behind those to finish was Egypt, and they're followed then by Let Her Rip, and back at the end is the Grey Flash and Bengal Cat.
Well, the Hayes Davennick stable certainly pulled the right rein. They scratched her from Moonee Valley last night and decided to take on the top fillies in the Group 2, Angus Armanasco, and she has streeted them. There's a couple of hard...
From Toll Importer, he's a shy fella. You don't see much of him, but he's there like a rock, and we're really...
Damian Lane's really, he's starting to really mature as a rider here, but... look, as we get round the corner here, the filly that won this, Catch a Fire, she just sat handy to them. She came off a Magic Million, went to the Magic Millions for that maiden race and ran very well up there. Yeah, and then came back to Moonee Valley and they gave her a confidence builder there, and she knocked off a maiden there. She just sat handy to them here, sprinted home nicely. Look, a great performance, and she'll no doubt improve, and I think she's going to be a force to reckon with this autumn for sure. She's now a Group 2 winner, which is great for her value and great for the stable, all those good things. I'm not convinced it's the highest class Angus Armanasco I'd ever seen, when a thing coming straight out of a maiden can go straight to it and win at Group 2 level. I just think that says something about the race. It was a little bit of a sprint home, I guess.
You've got to be careful when you say that. You know, you're talking about 3-year-old autumn fillies here, and they, you know, Jasoni was just out of maiden class.
Yeah. No, I agree. I take your point, but
you know, you're only working with group and listed 2-year-old form, which can be misleading.
If you look behind
70 with the market trading at 116%, he's got a clear margin over Patch Adams, 6 out to 7. Specking for Flying Light, 9 now into $8, and Charlevoix 8.50 out to $9.50. Terry O'Sullivan
early part as well, and Patch Adams jumps well, holding his place on the inside. Tally Hoplites are forward, and so too is Ayers Rock. Prior Engagement's up there having a look around for the lead also. Wider Top Ravine and Flying Light. So this is a bit of a battle for the front here. There's about 5 or 6 of them across the track. It's Hoplites who's working to the lead at the moment. Top Ravine goes on and joins him, and Flying Light is now third. Just in behind them, Braille is Prior Engagement. 1 to Tally. 2 lengths further back in the field is Ayers Rock, and then Patch Adams to Charlevoix. Hardoon well back on the inside. Extra Choice out wide and towards the end, and Powder Works a length away. Coming around the home turn now, and Hoplites Narrative from Top Ravine, and Celtic Tiger doing it tough, and here's Tally coming around the outside now. The favourite coming on. Back behind them, Prior Engagement ridden along on the inside, and then Flying Light, and Patch Adams working into the clear. In the straight, Top Ravine took over the running, but Tally's got him in his sights now, and the favourites after Top Ravine. Wider on the course is Patch Adams. Flying Light eases over the heels of the leader. 100 metres left to go though. Tally in front of Top Ravine. Flying Light coming home hard on the outside, but Tally is clear and will be too good for them, and Tally won it by a length and a half. Flying Light second, and Top Ravine ran third. Patch Adams 4. A break to Hardoon, Charlevoix, followed by Prior Engagement and Hoplites. A break back in the field to Ayers Rock, and they're followed by Powder Works. A long break then Celtic Tiger, and last in Extra Choice.
That was a lovely ride from Craig Williams there on the favourite Tally. If you'd backed the favourite, you didn't have too much to worry about throughout the run. Jumped out nicely. Craig was pretty neutral on him in the first couple of 100 metres, while a lot of others, including Top Ravine, were working extremely hard.
All right, the Peter Young Stakes not too far away. It's the next race here at Caulfield.
Bet, and this is the way that they're looking just at the moment. So Bow Creek on top of that market, $4.40. Fenway $6, $8 for He or She, and then we go $8.50 Faulkner. Rising Romance heads the round to 4
Stakes. It's now the Crown Golden Ale Peter Young, named in honour of Peter Young, who was chairman here of the Melbourne Racing Club 2005 through 2010. Bow Creek is the favourite. Can Godolphin get another winner? They had the winner of the...
Ivanhoe a little slow. Oh, Bow Creek's missed it 2 or 3 lengths. Straight out the back he goes. Massini is the first one to bounce with Fenway. Happy Trails. Our Ivanhoe holding his place near the inside. Ahead of He or She. Ladari out wider. Coming over Mourinho from deep out on the improve. And Awesome Rock has posted out extremely wide around middle of the field, and he's pressing on. He's going to do some work up the hill there. Faulkner in the interim's gone back, and he is last of all. So it's Massini with the Mourinho, the 2 leaders. Awesome Rock doing triple time. He's out there facing Romance, and Faulkner's last. So Mourinho, last year's winner, trying to do the double, comes to the 800 by a half. Awesome Rock second. Ladari's now posted 3 deep. In behind them is Massini, followed by Fenway, getting a good trail. 2 in front of Happy Trails, and they're followed then by Our Ivanhoe, He or She, Bow Creek on the rail, and they're trailed then by Do You Remember, Rising Romance, Al Moonquith, and Faulkner last. So Mourinho coming up towards the bend, leads a half Awesome Rock, a half Ladari, and Massini right behind them with Fenway and Happy Trails. Bow Creek playing for luck on the inside of Our Ivanhoe as they corner in. Al Moonquith pulls out wide. Faulkner widest and last. Mourinho around the bend in front of Awesome Rock, Fenway, Ladari, Massini the rail. Bow Creek starting to thread his way through, and then Our Ivanhoe and Happy Trails. Mourinho narrative with Awesome Rock. Fenway coming at them on the outside, and Bow Creek, he got the inside run. He sprints brilliantly. An outstanding win. Bow Creek from Fenway, Mourinho, Awesome Rock or Our Ivanhoe next over. Rising Romance next out wider. They're followed by Happy Trails, and then Massini, Ladari, and back behind them is He or She, Do You Remember, and Al Moonquith, and Faulkner's one of the last to go over the line.
Oh, he is a very good horse. Bow Creek, he bungled the start, missed it 3 lengths. Damien Oliver had to ride for luck, but it was an Ollie special. He was the favourite for the Australian Cup heading into this. If that's the way they are heading, he will certainly firm up even shorter. Let's see what Damien Oliver had to...
Level tally and now Bow Creek and this outstanding...
Exciting hour for everyone, so we're going to enjoy it.
Well done.
Thank you.
David Charles from Godolphin. Bow Creek winning his 6th start from only... well, 6th win, I should say, from 21 starts. He just...
Awesome Rock or Our Ivanhoe next over. Rising Romance next out wider. They're followed by...
Matt Stewart, are you a believer yet?
I think I always was a believer. I was just stating the stats and that they had to rip that little monkey off the back. And I reckon they're reaching over the shoulder for the little critter, but they've got to win the Australian Cup to yank it off, don't they? So Bow Creek, for me, yeah, look, that was the best Australian Cup trial, wasn't it? Although we have a sneaky one out of this race. Well, we have a little spanner in the works for Godolphin.
Well, there was 2 horses that I thought were absolutely outstanding, and they ran 4th and 5th. Awesome Rock, wide, so many excuses, yet still ran 4th. And Our Ivanhoe, you watch the replay, and Simon, you'll talk us through the replay. Over the heels in the straight, he might have run 2nd. But I'll ask you the same question: are you a believer now in Bow Creek?
Jason, I was always a believer in the horse, his ability, but I wanted to see it. He had a bit of bad luck in his runs. He come off an ordinary run in an Emirates. No. And we saw it today. It was a beautiful... Ollie had to squeeze the knees and hang on when he dropped one around his tail because he zoomed through there beautifully. It was good to see him do it, and I believe that's what Godolphin would be saying. It's great. He had some luck, and we were able to see the best of the horse today, and he did win very, very well. Yes, I'm on the blue. I'll look forward to the Godolphin pyjamas from you, Richo. We'll sleep tightly now. But colours, watch this, and you can see Benny Mellum just trying to hold him in there. No, misses the gap. Fenway gets out. She hits the front. She looks the winner. She's Awesome Rock boxes on well. Mourinho rolls off the fence like he normally does. He does it every race. Ollie goes, thank you.
Look at Ivanhoe, still
1,
held up.
2. And this is where he levels out beautifully, Bow Creek, and just too strong. So looking forward to the tactics going forward to an Australian Cup once again with these horses.
Who do you want to back out of them?
He's a little street brawler, Bow Creek, isn't he? Like, he's a very... take your blue pen. Yeah, there's no external factor, is there? They're the Australian Cup horses. What's, here we go, preferred pick, please.
He was
hang on, he was magnificent.
3 lengths behind them, but Damien sort of just played for luck and pushed him up on the inside, and he wasn't too far off them. He was right behind Our Ivanhoe. Our Ivanhoe moved out to find a run, which all he did was run into dead ends. Bow Creek got the inside run, and then he got the split close to the inside rail. This is where he's a good horse. He was able to accelerate very, very strongly here. We're at the 100-metre mark. He still hasn't reached the front. By the time we get to the post, he's a couple of lengths in front. So that is a horse with a real turn of foot. So he's been knocking on the door to do something like that. Watch him there in the blue colours. You'll see him there. There's Our Ivanhoe outside him, who arguably, if he'd have stayed on the fence, would have forced Bow Creek into the traffic and might have snuck away with the race, Our Ivanhoe. There he is getting checked late, and he just followed Bow Creek through. I think about 10 metres after the line he was in 2nd spot, so it was a very good run from Our Ivanhoe, a really good return. They must be very happy with that. Fenway was good, Rising Romance was good, a last 400 would have been very good splits there. Ladari had a tough run. I thought Faulkner was ordinary. I thought Happy Trails was ordinary for him, and I thought Al Moonquith was pretty ordinary too. So there were good and ordinary runs coming out of that.
Look, they looked the 2 unlucky runners in the all, to my eye, Fenway and Bow Creek, and they franked it there, and they proved it there. He's slow out, beautiful ride by Oliver. Look, the obvious eye catchers were Our Ivanhoe, who hasn't won under 2,200 metres, but that's a big time.
Probably needs a bit of sting out too.
That's a big time return. I'd love to see him set him for the Sydney Cup. Wow. And Rising Romance had no luck at all there down the straight, none at all. The 2 best runs outside the winner were Our Ivanhoe. I've marked him one of the runs of the day, and Rising Romance.
7-2, of course, is taking out first up here in the Futurity Stakes for Paul Massara. 100 metres on track. The favourite is the Kiwi Turn Me Loose for Murray Baker. Opened at $3.30, he's drifted to $3.70. Hucklebuck at $5. Suavito, $6.50, got to 7, now into $6.50. Baban, 8s to 9s. Adrift Politeness, 8s.
Chance, Damien Oliver on board. 1. They're off. Politeness brilliantly away. The United States slow and can't muster. He's detached by about 4 or 5 lengths. And the first one to bounce out of the stalls is Stratum Star. Hucklebuck, Scissor Kicker up there with Suavito. Politeness very close on the inside. Oh, Scissor Kick got into trouble, lost some ground there. And Turn Me Loose about 5th, pressing on. It's Hucklebuck who slips through at the 1,000 metres. And away he goes by a couple of lengths to Turn Me Loose. Suavito is now 3rd. Taking off round the outside, Trust and August to get close to this moderate tempo only. And then Stratum Star, Scissor Kick and Boban about a length further back, Entirely Platinum, followed by Rebel Dame Politeness, and back at the end of the field is the United States. Down the side, and Hucklebuck's having an easy run by about a length and a half at the 600 metres. In second placing, doing the chasing work at the moment is Trust and August, and they're 3 lengths on Turn Me Loose, Suavito, and on the outside Stratum Star, 2 behind them, Boban trying to find his way through. He's held up. Scissor Kick, Rebel Dane coming on, and they're followed then as they turn into the straight by Entirely Platinum. Hucklebuck first for the judge, coming at him hard on the outside is Trust and August, and now Turn Me Loose is coming, and Stratum Star's joining in on the outside. 150 to go. Turn Me Loose went to the lead from Trust and August. Stratum Star, Rebel Dane coming home. Turn Me Loose in front. Stratum Star coming at him. Suavito flies home, but Turn Me Loose is too good. Beat Stratum Star a length. Suavito ran 3rd, then Rebel Dane, the United States. Behind those to finish in the race, Trust in August, Politeness. Hucklebuck weakened out on the run home, then Entirely Platinum, Boban, Scissor Kick at the tail.
Turn Me Loose, too good. The favourite backers are happy here today at Caulfield. Another.
Yeah, he took a little bit to get there, but once we got in our spot, he dropped the bit beautifully and travelled up beautifully for me. And once we ranged up to them turning in, I knew he doesn't lay down, so he runs it strong out to the line.
And that is his.
I knew the other day after the run he was always going to improve, so we're pretty confident coming into today.
Stepping up to the mark.
So I think that's probably our main goal for now. So yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much, guys.
Scott Brown there.
States. Behind those to finish in the race, Trust in August, Politeness. Hucklebuck weakened out.
Oh, he's so tough, isn't he? Turn Me Loose. He wins a second Group 1 here in Australia. After winning the Emirates, he's $3.10 favourite. Defeats Stratum Star, who returns to his best. Suavito defends her crown with pride there. She runs 3rd in a solid performance. The United States was the eye catcher, and you'll see all the sectional times. Have a look at that, 45.81. And consistently was smashing the clock after missing the kick by 5 lengths early on in the race to run 5th weight for age at 1,400 metres. That's a fair performance by that horse. But let's concentrate on the winner. And I'll tell you what, Matty, you would love to own this boy because he's so tough, so honest, and what he is consistent.
I had a flashback to Rubiton then when he crossed the line, sitting in behind, pouncing, powerful, big horse. Just terrific, wasn't he? And that extra string to his bow we found yesterday. I think we all remember we had Opie Bossum on last year and he was wondering whether he'd run 2,000 metres. Well, there's your little trick up your sleeve now to pull back like he did there. They looked like they were cruising along. I guess high-class horses like Hucklebuck, when they're going fast, they look to be cruising. So he stopped and they ran really quick time and Turn Me Loose was on the speed. So it was a good effort. You know what I reckon? He's the only horse in Australasia. Get him up just to that mile to 2,000 metre distance, maybe even to 2,000 metres. He's probably the only one that can really make Winks work for it at the moment.
Well, you've been spruiking him because of your love affair with...
we saw the last of one of the great quirky chapters of the turf yesterday. Baban led for the second time.
Yeah. Why is he a quirky chapter of the turf?
Well, he's been a love-hate, bittersweet horse for some time.
Hang on, maybe just for you, isn't it?
5 Group 1s. It just had one bad patch.
Oh, well, anyway, so one of the great colourful chapters, there was one cruel...
What did you...
Too hard. That made Trust in August, who's outside him there, have to chase him all the way. So he did a lot of work as well. Something had to come from behind, and he doesn't have to be far behind Turn Me Loose. Once he got to the front here, I thought they might grab him. They started to close on him, but he just keeps finding. It's very hard to get past Turn Me Loose. He's a real quality horse. They ran 1:22 and a tick. Didn't run home all that quickly in the race compared to some of the other races.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Only because I think Hucklebuck burned him early, and he dragged him along early, and you know it was very hard to run slick last sectionals and that. Look, the horse...
You don't have to run slick last sectionals when you're running like that.
Yeah, exactly right.
Look at the overall performance.
Yeah,
this is just a really, really good horse.
Just coming out...
natural.
Oh, absolutely, agree entirely. Coming out of it, Boban bled for the second time, so he's done now as far as Australian racing is concerned. I thought Suavito was was not too bad. She was
genuine.
just a little bit off her top, perhaps, from her last run there. But the horse I think we're going to halo here.
Halo time.
Halo coming
it
up.
It wouldn't be... Oh, no, I don't believe it.
it's the United States. He missed the start 3 or 4 lengths.
I think everyone saw that.
Yeah, and he just trailed him around. He just came to the outside. And
good run.
What I liked about him was he finished off strong, right? After he'd made a long run round the outside of them, kept getting to the line. He was going as strongly as anything on the line. So he's a horse, once he gets up over a bit more ground, is going to win a good race this autumn, I think.
Tough day for Philip Stokes. Both his horses...
With Craig Newitt aboard, he comes in 2 after the scratchings, but there's good money to suggest that he will be able to stretch his brilliant speed to 1,200 metres.
Yeah, that's right. Look, before that slowdown that Vince is referring to, there was a 10-3 split in there, and he certainly worked the first part of the race and still exploded away, one eased up, and was near 57 flat overall. It's the quickest 1,000-metre 2-year-old run here since Crystal Lily. He's the top-ranked runner for me. I don't have a 1,200-metre query yet.
Been $2.70 into $2.60, but there is a very interesting little move for Flying Artie. Been $7 into $5. Some good bets as well. So they have waited late after a drift all week on Flying Artie, but they've come back and they've done so in a pretty big way as well. Flying Artie into $5 and well backed late. There's been a few others that have been backed at.
To split him, I'm thinking the Chestnut horse has probably got the tactical advantage and a little bit better gait, and that's what I think, but I might be wrong.
Good luck, Mick.
Thanks, Michael.
Claire, what are your thoughts?
They're set now, they're away, and Extreme Choice got a very good jump over towards the outside, and already began fast. Star Turn out quickly also as they settle down and into stride, and just off the speed in the early part. Haydock along the inside at the 1,000 metres now, and it's Highland Beat who's driven through and taken up the running in the early stages with Aretti on the outside. They're a length clear from Haydock using the rail. Just off those horses then is Extreme Choice. He's 4th within striking range, and then Valiano. Hell of an effort on the rail, followed by Miss Nymeria. Star Turn, Sweet Cherry, Zamzam well back on the inside as they neared the turn, followed by Concealer. Back behind those horses, Sweet Cherry, Flying Artie, 3rd last, about to go around the outside of Power Trip, and Kinetic Design and China Dream at the end. Into the straight now, Haydock on the inside, and with it on the outside is Extreme Choice. He's just bolted up on the outside of Highland Beat, and he's taken over the running. Then Miss Nymeria. Here comes Flying Artie. He's letting rip down the outside. Extreme Choice in front. Flying Artie with a length and a half to make up, 100 left to go. Extreme Choice is going strongly though, and he'll score. Extreme Choice 2 lengths to Flying Artie. Big Quinella for the stable. Zamzam 4 lengths away 3rd. Then came Star Turn, Power Trip, Sweet Cherry, Kinetic Design, Concealer, Miss Nymeria, followed by Valiano. Back behind them, Highland Beat, China Dream, Samara Dancer, Never a Chance in the race, followed by Haydock, Aretti towards the end, and so too, hell of an effort.
Mick Price has got 2 stars on his hands. Well done to Mick Price. A great training performance. Extreme Choice and Flying Artie, they have streeted the rest. Zamzam has finished 3rd. I don't know if the barriers have made a difference. Flying...
The Jet, Sammy, you can do anything with him, mate. Have a look at him. He's like a 10-year-old. All he wants to do is please you, and he's just got a motor and a half.
You jumped well, and obviously tempo was hot enough, so you got a fair way off them.
Yeah, that's the best part about him, mate. You can ride him for speed, you can take a sit off him. Look, I was caught 4 and 5 wide then, but I knew I only had 1 corner to go around, so I just had to keep him balanced and just needed the first half of my bloke just run a bit softer than the second half, and I knew he was always going to be hard to beat. And
Mick Price has been...
Hey Shane, you know, I saw the second horse got speared off at the top of the straight, and I thought, oh, poor bugger, he just had no luck. But, you know, all credit to Extreme Choice, because today was a day where he had an opportunity to really stand up, or, you know, just... I think today we got a lot of information about the horse, and off to the slipper.
You said all the way through.
When he hit the line like he did, no doubt about 1,200, and just stamped him as a really, really good colt.
Well, he's run exceptionally.
Power Trip, Sweet Cherry, Kinetic Design, Concealer.
And he's the new favourite in the Golden Slipper. He wins the $1.5 million Blue Diamond with supreme speed. Craig Newitt and Mick Price, has the Quinell there. Flying Artie. Well, Damien Oliver decides to ride Flying Artie, and he might have had it right, because he might end up being on the best horse as a 3-year-old. Zamzam was superb. Can't wait to see her over 1,400 metres 16. I'm sure she'll go to Sydney and be a factor in the size and also also the Champagne. There's all the sectional times there. Fairly obvious there. Extreme Choice still ran 11.83 in the last 200 metres. Could he run 1,200 metres, Matt? Of course he could.
Yeah, exactly right. And Mick Price is always thinking of the next challenge. Straight after the race, he's sort of thinking about how much fuel is left in the tank of both these two-year-olds, because he was asked what the win meant. And I reckon it's his defining moment as a trainer, but he's still looking 3 weeks ahead to the Golden Slipper. Yeah. I think you could argue that that's Mick Price's finest moment. Like the Caulfield, he's a Caulfield trainer. The Blue Diamond is a race that's so high on his agenda. It's a local race for him. It's a target race, and there he goes.
Looking gallop. He's 3/4 of a length off Arietti's girth. He cruises into the race. There's been genuine tempo up front. I love, now watch the left of screen. You see Valiano in the white, just push out, start third. Sweet Cherry.
Have a look at the ground it's covered.
Shoots to the outside, but here, Matty, look at Froggy. Cuddling, elbows in, and then he says, OK, let's run the 6 furlongs.
And you know what? Again, another example, the folly of inside barriers are best. I mean, Froggy was wide no cover, but he was cruising. It mattered not an iota that he was covering ground without cover. He was just getting good rhythm, and I reckon that culture, 20 years ago, save every inch, get from A to B, it's just a nonsense now. These tracks are cambered, they're different, the mentality's changed with John.
He's got a great strike rate.
Let's have a look at the market for the Golden Slipper. Could these two Victorian Raiders go up to Sydney and win the Slipper? Well, Extreme Choice is now $3.80. It is the favourite ahead of Capitalist at $4.20. Now, Astern at $9. Flying Artie not nominated, but I'm sure they'll head that way, and Wilf Mueller and the team.
A new favourite for the Golden Slipper, courtesy of the Blue Diamond win of Extreme Choice.
Yeah, it was some win too. He's a very, look, we know he's a fast 2-year-old. He was absolutely beautifully positioned in this race. He just kept him out wide a little bit. There's no turns to get around. He just sat next to him, and then he strode up in the straight there. Only went for him at the 250 metre mark, and he gapped the ones that were around him. Now, obviously, the run of the race was Flying Artie there in the pink colours. He got back, he got checked at the 1,000 metre mark. He got a check again on the turn, and, he had to cover a lot of extra ground to get around them because he got really run off on the corner there. Look, he was a fantastic effort. They streeted the others. I think the others in the race are just 2-year-olds. I don't really think there's anything slipper-worthy behind those first two, but they are definitely worthy of coming up and having a crack, both of them. They were, I think there was about 3 to maybe 4 lengths between Flying Artie and the next one over the line. So it really was a dominant effort. OK, he's gone to the top of the slipper market, Extreme Choice. Well, that's hard to do. Victorian...
Well, they used to play the late nom for Flying Artie there. You'd reckon? They look two proper colts, don't they? They're running time, where the Sydney horses, little queries on the times they're running.
Yeah.
We're going to learn a lot more about this race next week. We've got a ripper race, and we can line up a bit.
Up there at Randwick. Vince Accardi's daily sectional, and the Clam Seafood Oakley Plate is a race that Vince has high race assessment over. He's very, very confident here. He feels the best zone at the 800 metres is the yard. We're 12 minutes away here for the Group 1 feature. Flamberge is yet to make his way into the ring, but we'll start with horse number 2, Dothraki, for Peter and Paul Snowden. Stephen Arnold.
What are you expecting him to do today?
I think with clear running, he'll be very hard to beat. The two stable mates are in great order.
He's climbing back into the structure of the gates now, and he's back on board the mare. And they're ready. Set to go. Lights on. They're racing. Heatherly jumped OK. Gregor's alongside of her began fast and out wide. Kuro got away flying, and so did Flamberge Dothraki as they settled into stride. And Bounding's not far away, and the quarterback went back to last of all. Kuro led at the 800 metres, Heatherly retaining the inside. Flamberge wider. Keena Ray's right up there fourth, and so is Fell Swoop. Gregor's followed by Atmospherical. Bounding out wide. Dothraki very deep, and then Pittsburgh Flyer. Griante getting up on the inside of Fast and Rocking, followed Vézelay, A Clear Choice, Reldas, Smoke and Joey, and the quarterback is last. Heatherly uses the rail at the 400. She's going to corner about a length in front of Kuro. Keena Ray's right there. Gregor's on the fence, wide of Flamberge, and then Griante and Dothraki on the outside. Heatherly down to the 200. She led two to Keena Ray, Gregor's, Flamberge, Kuro or Griante ran out of room. Fell Sweeper's coming. Heatherly in front at the 100. Flamberge, the top weight comes, and Fell Swoop runs on. Flamberge got there. Heatherly late. Fell Swoop diving. Flamberge just in front. Flamber's just beat Fell Swoop in a photo, either Heatherly or Pittsburgh Flyer for the Miners, and Reldas ran on well, followed by Dothraki and the quarterback out wide. Fast and rocking Gregor's Kuro, followed further back by Bounding Griante. A clear choice, Keener Ray dropped out, Smoke and Joey towards the end, and one of the last in, Atmospherical.
Flamberge has won the Oakley Plate at its third attempt, and it's been drawing the car parks every single time. From barrier 17, it's been able to hang on. Fell Swoop in one more bound was going to get up, but Flamberge for Peter Moody and Damien Lane have won the Group 1 Oakley Plate. Fell from Flamberge in the end, the speed. They broke Keener Ray's heart. Heatherly's battled on well, but it was the closers who had the race.
Yeah, terrific effort, isn't it? Because he had 58 kilos. Remember, he gave them all weight. He drew wide and he's run over them anyway. So it is hard to decry him that win. Flamberge has been more than competitive with Chautauqua fresh up in the past.
It's an outstanding effort by this horse under the big weight.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job after a dirty day. It was a blessing. You know, he's a courageous horse. You know, he's a very good handicapper. We always try and have him ready for these handicaps because he's not a weight for age horse, but at handicap level he always runs unbelievably well, and the worse the draw.
Fresh with a big weight.
It does, but he's run very well in it the last 2 years from similar draws. I think he's run 4th and 5th and hasn't been beaten, but today, you know, he got the job done. He might be just maturing as a rising 7-year-old, but no, you know, and Troy and the team up at Yungabara and seem to ever reign in Victoria ever again by the looks of it, so you know, 1200.
Reldas ran on well, followed by Dothraki and the quarterback.
Eagle Falls, Undue and Fastnet Rock all carried 57 to win the Oakley Plate, and Flamberge carries 58 kilos. Different weight scale, I know, but still a remarkable performance. The Goodwood winner has another Group 1 to his CV for contract racing. David and Jenny Moody, congratulations to everyone there. Peter Moody and Damien Lane, this star young jockey, wins with Flamberge. Fell Swoop just misses, fantastic. The quarterback absolutely smashes the clock. Fastest last 8, 6, 4 and 200 metres. 11.53 the last 200 metres. Once he got out, he flew. So many stories out of the race, but let's concentrate firstly on the winner, Matty. And, well, I can imagine there was a big story there with Pete Moody winning.
Yeah, exactly, and David Moody as the owner as well. They've been a great collaborators for a good decade or so now, and those colours have been really successful. But as we all know, there is the bigger story out there of what's going on there. But so a great moment in time for a really great partnership there with the two Moody's. And as I said, he was even Black.
He's had 6 starts for 3 wins, 2 seconds and a minor placing, so he hasn't missed first up. It's 7 starts now for the 4 wins and 2 Group 1s to him. So he's an absolute star at this distance on his home track as well.
I think he won the Goodwood over there in South Australia, so he's a previous Group 1 winner, and he sat right behind them, virtually the same run that Extreme Choice did. He just sat right behind them there, a little bit wide, you know, 2 or 3 wide on the track, but perfect place to be. And in the run home after the mare there, the filly there, Weatherly, is it Weatherly? Heatherly had just set a very strong pace, and she battled on very, very well. He's just a good sprinter at the right time, but if you go back and you look at the run of the second horse, Fell Swoop, very unlucky. Ran into dead ends at crucial times. Probably should have won the race.
Probably.
That's Peter Moody's first win in the Oakley Plate. He's had 5 previous placings in it, so he's been knocking on the door to win the big sprint on his home track, and he got the job done. But there he is in those checked sleeves and cap there, Fell Swoop. All he wanted to find was dead ends early in the straight, and no, good thing, beat.
Can't take much away from the winner. He had 58. He looked the first horse under pressure there, and he was a sitting shot, and it didn't happen. I agree. It was a fair dinkum tragedy that was halo material, actually. Full Swoop should have won that race with a 1, 3, 2 and 8. I'm going with Telperion, just with that recent run on his side over the 1200. Just gives him the edge over the very well fancied, good standing here, who gets all the favours from the inside draw. Suchet, don't underestimate his ability, and best of the rest is Vega.
Ready for a jump in the Skyline Stakes. Telperion is the hot favourite. Stand by for a start. The 2-year-olds are about to jump and they're off and racing, and Lionhearted got the best of the start. Military Machine away well. Souchet's coming across from the wide draw and Good Standing goes forward. Telperian jumped okay but is drifting back through the field with Heyman on the inside of Vega. Then Mediterranean, and Telperian caught pretty deep, is now drifting all the way back to last. It's Lionhearted putting the brakes on, and Buick allows Souchet to stride forward on the outside. Souchet with its neck in front from Lionhearted. Good Standing between them in third. Then Military Machine, followed by Heyman on the inside of Vega. Mediterranean, and McDonald is riding very patiently on Telperian, as he did when victorious at its only other start. Lionhearted on the turn, 500 out, just leads from Souchet, 3 wide, Good Standing between them. Then Military Machine, Vega, Mediterranean pulling to the outside, and Telperian being quietly ridden here by McDonald as they top the rise. Good Standing goes to Lionhearted. Souchet's run its race. Mediterranean runs on. Telperian's green under pressure. It's no good thing. Good Standing lays it down to Lionhearted. Good Standing hits the lead now and draws away in the Skyline Stakes. It's Good Standing from Lionhearted and Souchet third. Telperian gave away a big start, ran home into fourth. Then Mediterranean from Military Machine, Vega, and last to finish was Heyman.
Well, Good Standing, he stamped himself as a very nice horse in the parade ring, and the riding was on the wall. And Good Standing, there were a couple of interviews on your radio show, Ronnie, on Saturday morning that made punters sit up and take notice. One was with Hugh Bowman about this horse, Good Standing. The other one we'll get to with John O'Shea and Merceau. But what do you think of this boy?
He's obviously held in high regard by everyone concerned with him in the stable, the jockey. I think, listening to you yesterday, he seems to think he's going to make a better 3-year-old, but he was the first horse they backed when the markets went on track. Look, he just gets his head up here and he's still learning what it's all about. He's climbing and reaching, but he's run better time than the fillies here. He's finished off very, very well. And look, I don't know if we can sort of use this as a comparison, but Lionhearted, who's run second there, has gone well. He was beaten 4.5 lengths by Flying Artie in one of those preludes leading into the Blue Diamond yesterday. So whether that's franking a bit of Victorian form here, maybe not.
Improved second up blinkers.
Maybe he did.
It was a good sprint home here. I mean, they
old fillies in action here for the Sweet Embrace. Duff, the fillies get there.
Fixed odds favourite at 4.20 ahead of Scarlet Rain, unbeaten through 2 at 4.60. On track, it's the other way around. 5 into 4.20 for Scarlet Rain, 8 into $7 for...
He jumped very quickly, Scarlet Rain, but in the vanguard, flew out as well to join her. Tail of Choice quickly into stride, going to third, and now Kentucky Misses rolling through on the rails from Albalisa the outside. Further back to Alluvian, Palomino, Twist Tops caught deep. Sugar Palmer's drifting back, followed by Zenalicious, Smart Amelia, and Gloriette's last of a pretty bunch field. It really stacks them up. Here's Scarlet Rain from Tail of Choice the outside. Once in, the vanguard took a hold. Albalisa up in fourth, followed by Alluvian. Sugar Palmer whips around the field from Kentucky Miss. Twist Tops deeper out. Further back then to Gloriette around Palomino, Zenalicious, and Smart Amelia is still back last on the turn, and Scarlet Rain being well rated here by Kathy O'Hara. Leads around the corner from Tail of Choice, Albalisa. Sugar Palmer in the vanguard is sweating on a run behind them. Pulling to the outside, Twist Tops of Gloriette, and Palomino's looking for a run. Scarlet Rain kicks in the vanguard, gets its chance to come off the fence. Scarlet Rain a length and a half clear from in the vanguard. Scarlet Rain's going strongly though from in the vanguard, and Scarlet Rain's going to lead all the way for Kathy O'Hara. Takes out the Sweet Embrace. In the vanguard second, Photo third, Tail of Choice, Kentucky Miss, and Twist Tops the outside. Further back to Gloriette from Palomino, Sugar Palmer. Then came Alluvian. Smart Amelia didn't really pick up from back in the field. Then Zenalicious and Albalisa was among the tail enders.
They couldn't catch Scarlet Rain. They couldn't catch... Here she comes, Gay Waterhouse. She's done it again. She's got another one going towards the Golden Slipper. Time in the middle sections, Duff, when they started to slow up a bit. Here, there she is in front in the Derby racing colours.
Well, it's hard to pot a winner. She's 3 from 3 now, 1,100, 1,000, 1,200. She's 5 weeks between runs here. She paraded beautifully with more scope to come, leading into another 3-week break before the Slipper. So I'm not here to pot her. She didn't run the figures as the Colts, but... she's a winner. Look at her. When she sprints here and leaves in the vanguard, who just resented when the speed slowed on top of the heels of the winner, but I thought there was a lot of merit in her performance as well in the vanguard, only having her second start there. And, yeah, look, I don't know whether they're going to, you know, I think the market's got it right about their price in the slipper. And look, a big connection of owners there, and they all had a huge thrill there yesterday, and so they should. They've got a runner in the slipper.
It's gone 210, 240, back to 235, back to 240 on course. Good support, Hanesta to beat at number 2.
Coolmore Surround Stakes over 1,400 metres. The favourite Gassoni's drawn in barrier number 2. We're set for a break. And they're off and racing. Ambience missed the start and Whiteout captured jump pretty quickly. Single Gaze is on the speed together with Gassoni, and Gassoni's going to just lead from Single Gaze as they settle down. They're followed by Pearls whipping up on the outside of Hartlings, then captured back to midfield from Stay With Me, Shotgun Roulette, Hanesta, and 2 lengths away to Ambience last of all. McDonald's going along at a slow enough pace here on Gassoni. Single Gaze parks up on the outside, followed by Hartlings positioned on the rails together with Pearls and captured. Further back with Stay With Me is caught 3 wide but has some cover on the outside of Hanesta, Shotgun Roulette, and Ambience is the last one. It's the favourite Gassoni on top of the ears prick just from Silver Gaze and capture the outside. Hartlings travelling strongly just behind them, followed by Pearls and the white cap. Stay With Me deeper out. Further back to Hanesta, Shotgun Roulette, and Ambience is last of all as they swing for home now. And Gassoni held together from Single Gaze, then captured. Pearls working into the clear. Stay With Me to the outside and further back to Hartlings. He sits very quietly on Gassoni. Single Gaze is flat to the board. Stay With Me and Pearls are running on. He says go now on Gassoni. Single Gaze has run its race now, and Gassoni gets a length clear from Single Gaze. Good battle for third, but Gassoni, she's all class. There's 3 in a row. She remains unbeaten. Gassoni beats Single Gaze. Stay With Me third in front of Pearls. Then Hartlings from Hanesta, and they panel the other 3 fillies. Captured, Shotgun Roulette, and Ambience found the trip way too short.
Well, it took a couple of extra weeks for her to get to the racetrack, Ronnie, but today was worth the wait. She is pretty good, Gassoni. She's come out of...
A few on-pace favours there, fair enough, but I think there's plenty of upside to this filly, and there's a really good race in her. I don't know what John's thinking.
Special about this girl.
Yes, I'm not saying it was the performance of the day because she had a few on-pace favours there, but she could be the find of the day.
Okay.
She could well be the find of the day. There's just something special about her, the way she looks, the way she parades, her attitude to racing, her composure. She's a beauty, this Gassoni. First up, 1,400. She'd missed a run at 1,200. A couple of these real good fillies that had a run leading into this race, so I'm not saying there was a team of walkers there. She's just... You know, she won a maiden and a benchmark 70 or something, and here she is. Look at her. Look at the rhythm and the swagger with her. She just gets into that rhythm, and she's got a big loping stride there, high cruising speed.
All the beaten jockeys said after this race made it hard for us because of the slow tempo. Now, they've put up a race record. How slow were they going?
Well it looks like, you know, sometimes the eye doesn't lie to you, and they were all getting on the bit there. And we spoke about this earlier.
Here at Royal Randwick, the Precise Air, chipping Norton Stakes over a mile. And we're about to have a look at them all. But Winks, you've had a look at her. You've had a look at Mongolian Khan.
Yeah, look, Winks, well, we get to see what we expect with Winks. She's not, although she wears the...
Pago won a Group 1 in Melbourne with Turn Me Loose. Can he make it back-to-back Group 1s in 2 states here with Mongolian Khan?
I reckon he looks outstanding. He's done a lot of work. He's forward.
He's an Epsom Derby and an Irish Derby place getter. We see him for the first time in Australia today. He's got the blinkers on, Chris Waller and Ty Anglin.
He's the most interesting runner of the day. He's been sent over here with a Queen Elizabeth or BMW in mind.
Here is our favourite. She's going for 7 in a row here. Winks number 11 for Chris Waller, and Hugh Bowman is the man to steer.
Yeah, well, what can you say? She's the darling of the turf. She's the one to beat. Just $1.35. You know, we're talking black caviar odds there.
So there she is, number 11, Winks.
Winks is drawn in barrier number 8. She's the long odds-on favourite. And they're off now in the chipping. Norton, Haraki missed the start. Magic Hurricane wasn't great out. And Dibiani jumped well. So did Mongolian Khan fresh. And he's in second early, but whipping up on the outside. Magic Hurricane right on the speed. And Hartnell there as well. Followed by Storm the Stars, then Preferment, Gust of Wind. Winks on the outside. 2 further back to Grand Marshal from Haraki. Centre Pivot gets back. And Who Shot the Barman is the last one. Dibiani on the rails being pressed now by Magic Hurricane. And Magic Hurricane puts its neck in front. Back in third, Mongolian Khan tucked away on the inside of Hartnell. 2 further back to Storm the Stars from Preferment. Then Winks from Gust of Wind. 2 off to Haraki. Then Grand Marshal from Centre Pivot. And Who Shot the Barman's last of all. William Buick goes all the way to the front of Magic Hurricane. A length clear from Dibiani. Pops off the fence. Mongolian Khan in third position, followed by Hartnell. Then Preferment. Bowman gets going on Winks. He starts his run at the 600 metres, inching closer on the outside of Storm the Stars. Then Haraki tracking up. Further back to Gust of Wind, Grand Marshal, Centre Pivot. And Who Shot the Barman's last of all. Magic Hurricane swings in front from Dibiani, but Winks is starting to stride up on the outside. Beaten off Hartnell. Then came Haraki. Bowman sits quietly on Winks as it starts to put its head in front from Dibiani, is under immense pressure. But now Winks is starting to extend from Dibiani and Haraki. Oh, she's a wrecking ball, Winks. And there's the 7th picket in the fence. Winks goes on to win the chipping. Norton beats Dibiani and Haraki. A good margin clear from Preferment. Then Storm the Stars from Hartnell, Who Shot the Barman. Mongolian Khan sat handy fresh but didn't see it out. Then Grand Marshal from Centre Pivot. Magic Hurricane led but weakened right out. And Gust of Wind was the last to finish.
She's very, very special. Very special indeed, Winks. And a ride for the moment to Huey Bowman. He left nothing to chance there. He put her into the race. He was mindful of everything that was going on around him. He was mindful of the race.
There to pounce on the point of the turn, and that was his job, and he did it with precision. Dibiani, well, he's given a good...
away, and I'm sure the crowd is going to give her what she deserves here as she comes back. They started applauding before she got to the post, and applause is breaking out here on track for Huey Bowman and Winks.
Explain, it's just a absolute pleasure.
Huey,
an absolute beauty is Winks, and she wins another Group 1, $1.35, Matt. She just keeps winning, doesn't she?
Hugh Bowman, I'm not sure at what point of So You Think's career he rode So You Think, but he said she's top of the pops, and he said he rode...
So You Think?
Yeah, well...
Huey Bowman?
Yeah, he must have ridden it really early in its career, up in Sydney, maybe. Well, anyway, she's better than So You Think and all the other great... Hugh Bowman's ridden some great horses.
Yeah, that's right.
Winks is the best, he says. She's the one who can sustain the greatest sprint, and that's what makes her such a crusher. I'm still looking forward to life getting tougher for Winks, and I know you're not sold. I know you think she's just barely above average, but I think she is a genuine champion and good for racing. You know, she's good for racing. I just think life does become a bit tougher for her for now. And I think that's the great challenge of the championships coming up, is that the Barnes is going to get them there. I don't think she'll run on the Doncaster.
What we liked about her, Chris Waller's got so much more left in the tank, and that's what Chris Waller does with his horses. He trains them to peak as they continue to go through. So she's just winning on pure class. She's only going to get better, and I think the Queen Elizabeth is her race.
Yeah, how do they...
Winks is on the verge of being called a champion. I think, you know, champion, this name that we use, you've got to do it more than one season, as far as I'm concerned. She's, you know, only been doing it at this level for one season, but she's well on her way. I mean, she's got champion qualities and acceleration, being able to cruise at a high speed, all those things champions got to have, she's got them.
Well, she just had work to do yesterday, didn't she? Because the pattern of the day was a little bit, obviously, an advantage being on top of the speed, but Bowman stayed cool, calm and collected, as you'll see here, and he made his move when they went for their rest. He pounced and saw, this is my opportunity, which he did here. So, OK, got yous, on the point of the turn, I'm within a length, and I've got everything under control here, which he did. She's well, she's a beauty, isn't she? She's the star of the show, and she'll continue to be. To think that she's earned well over $4 million in prize money now, and who's to say if she doesn't win the Queen Elizabeth and another Cox Plate, she could go past the Black Caviar, $8 million.
Yes,
within the calendar year.
No, she's well on the way to doing this. It was a wonderful, wonderful run from a wonderful mare. Dibiani, he was superb again. He over-raced a touch early too. I thought that he battled on really, really well. There's a big race in him soon. And, you know, just behind her, even though she was dominant and, you know, she ran home in 34.22 or something, it was really good. It was Preferment, Haraki, Hartnell. They were all good runs, I thought.
No real negatives. All we know is she's an absolute superstar.
She's 230 Queen Elizabeth right now. Doesn't seem a bad price.
No, I don't know.
I'd wait.
I'd wait. Look, there's a huge rap on Isla Bonita from Japan.
And he's talking champion. He's gone from 1 week not winning the Ord to being a champion the next.
I'd say she's got champion qualities. Not a champion yet.
Examination, so that's an awful shame there for Calliope, who's 13th in the rankings for the Golden Slipper. And she's a late scratching at the gates, Calliope. She's been unsaddled and the red light's on. Honesty Prevails, the hot favourite now, and they're off and racing, and not a great deal of speed by the favourite. Honesty Prevails, and the Brisbane filly flew the start. So Ladies Night Out pinged to the lead from Super 2, and French Firm was away well into third. Calliope on the improve, now going up on the inside of Quick Feed, and McQueen's been taken back to last of all. So Tim Clark tries to steady the speed now on the Ladies Night Out, brings it back to Super 2, and French Fern caught without cover, followed by Honesty Prevails, who's poking through on the inside of McQueen, and Quick Feed in a 3 wide positions last. So Ladies Night Out just the leader from Super 2. French Fern not having much luck. Then the hot favourite Honesty Prevails on the inside of McQueen and Quick Feet as they come up to the home turn down the Riesling Stakes, and the Ladies Night Out has had it easy in the lead from Super 2 and French Fern. Honesty Prevails is all boxed up on the fence. Quick Feet to the outside, and then came McQueen. Honesty Prevails is looking for room on the inside. She's getting it now. Super 2 and French Fern race to the lead with Honesty Prevails picking up, and then came Quick Feed. It's French Fern just the leader. Honesty Prevails can't get there. French Fern kicks from McQueen and Quick Feed, and French Fern gets the money. French Fern by a length to Quick Feed. McQueen third, and Honesty Prevails was very one-paced in fourth. Then Super 2 and the leaders, the Ladies Night Out, knocked up to finish last. Late scratching at the gates, Calliope.
French Fern gets the money here for David Payne and Blake.
And I can't settle it, we'll see. And I can't tempt you into saying she's a slipper star. Well, look, she's accepted, so we will decide. We'll see.
Well, she's an improving filly, isn't she? Look, she's just gone improve, and one of these fillies that could probably sneak up and bite you. I don't know whether she's slipper material, but there's some lovely races over the autumn that she could contest, and she's got desire. That's what I like about her. Look at her here. She moves up, she has a go, and she gets to the line over the top of them. Bunch finish, a little bit of a concern, but look, she's no knock on her. McQueen was good through the middle there. Those Quick Feet was strong. The story of the race was the very well tried Calliope.
You want to say Calliope, don't you?
Calliope was very heavily backed going into the race. Obviously, there was a barrier issue.
Got a leg over the
next gate. And
anyway, as I said, ran a second slower than the Colts here. $31 pop wins. It is the second group winner in
Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Race number 2 at Randwick is next. Todman Stakes. Boys get their chance to impress ahead of the slipper. Capitalist is the second favourite in the slipper. Skinny to win again today at $1.24. Weatherly on the second line at $6.
And collected. There's no issues with him. He's a thrill seeker's price at $1.24, but I'm more interested
in. And they're off, and the favourite Capitalist was the first head into stride, but Kiss and Makeup is quickly zipping through, and Kiss and Makeup with its head in front from Capitalist, and the pace is pretty genuine. Bowman just sits back on Tessera, and Weatherly is a further 2 lengths away behind it. So Kiss and Makeup steadies the speed now by a half. On Capitalist, punching the breeze in second. 2 further back to Tessera is inching closer now with the pace really starting to ease up, and 2.5 lengths away to Weatherly. Coming to the home turn, Kiss and Makeup, 1 for 1 at its only start at Canterbury, leads the equal slipper favourite Capitalist, being quietly ridden around the corner, and now Bowman's looking to come away from the fence on Tessera, gets onto the back of Capitalist, and Weatherly's a length behind it as they straighten up. Kiss and Makeup stays to the fence, Capitalist being cuddled, Weatherly stoked up on the outside, Tessera couldn't sprint with him, Capitalist is trying to get on terms with Kiss and Makeup, Weatherly's making hard work of it, Kiss and Makeup's giving a great sight, Capitalist under pressure. Maker. Kiss and Make Up. Will this be a Todman boil over? Kiss and Make Up for Gay and Singer leads all the way. Kiss and Make Up from Capitalist. Weatherly third to Sarah fourth.
Well, there is screaming going on down here with connections of Kiss and Make Up. There's a lot of faces with blank stares, though. The $1.24 pop goes down, Capitalist. And Kiss and Make Up, and they've only just started to calm down. Here's the last little bit when you were waiting for Capitalist to grab Kiss and Make Up, but it just wasn't happening.
No, he loomed up. He over-raced a little bit earlier outside the lead, so didn't show much.
He's got a couple of hands on the trophy, on the what is it? It's a slipper. It's not a trophy. It's not a plate. It's a slipper. Yeah. He was, you know what Mick Price is like. He wasn't cock or hoop yesterday, but he just sort of ticked the race book and said, "There's one by the way." So I tell you, who's a force of nature though is Mrs. Waterhouse. Oh, now singing about it. Just when we'd sort of signed her off into almost here, just when you'd signed her off into here, she's now back with the slipper. With her mate Singer.
Her fillies and her colts are starting to shine, heading towards the slipper. Hey, the one missing there yesterday was a Stern. Yes. He was a scratching. Don't know why, where or how. Hope he's okay. But he's the one that we need to have a look at. Weatherly, he missed the kick again yesterday, Weatherly, and you know, he had to make a run 6-7 wide when they were off the fence again there at Randwick yesterday, and he worked home okay. I can't help but think that maybe a size champagne for Weatherly.
But I agree with you, Simon. The colt by Medaglia Adoro is Stern. I want to see him again. I don't know why he was scratched.
Well, keep your eye out for the trials on Thursday because Stern was taken out. But there's no real drama with the Stern, is there? He'll go round, he'll trial and then go to the slipper.
Yep.
But a 4-horse field, and we've got a $1.24 pop in Capitalist.
Yeah, well, did the bubble burst or not? Or is this horse better than what we thought? Or I thought his win midweek was sensational, Kiss and Make Up. This was just unbelievable. He did it both ends. He run time. He ran into a headwind. It's only second start in a race. Typical Gay Waterhouse. The last 2 weeks she's produced the goods with these 2-year-olds, getting the peak at the right time. The question about this race, now he's a high-profile horse, Capitalist. The vet says that he's sore. The trainer says he's not sore. You know, we're taking bets into a golden slipper. I think we should get an answer on that in the next couple of days. Is he sore or is he not sore?
Well, you're going to have to, because he's got to have a vet certificate before he runs again. So we're going to find out.
If the trainer says he's not sore, we should have it by...
You'll have it by Monday.
Okay.
I think
we're not going to wait till he...
No.
But here's the problem for Peter, and why he'd be disappointed about that is because, yes, they might give him a vet certificate on Monday to clear him. They'll be all over him all the way up to the race, and it just makes it a little more difficult to get him to the race when you kind of, you know, have to deal with that as well.
Well, if he's
done, and we thought, typical Gay horse here, he'll be well educated, he's got blinkers on, he'll go to the front or sit outside the leader, which he led, and they pressured him, and I thought, oh, well, you probably, you know, had him. You probably cave in here, and he found again, yeah, and he's come straight out. He's improved 3 lengths off his first win for sure, and now he's a real contender.
Yeah. Oh, real contender. Look, he's a lovely horse, that Weatherly. He's just got that horrible habit of just not coming out of the barriers.
No, makes it hard, doesn't it?
So only having these 3 runs, this preparation before he retires, heading for the Queen Elizabeth. He is looking in sensation.
Interesting to see that our boy Malachi actually came up favourite. The tote here has been on the second line of betting all the way through. Is a $3.
First Seal continues to attract very good interest on track to win and make it 2 from 2 this prep. $2.70 out to $3.20 into $2.60.
Market as well. We're all set now. The red light on for the Group 1 Canterbury Stakes. And they're off and racing, and Holler on the outside got it off to a great start. Our boy Malachi was only fairly out, and Berry has to rev him up to quickly whip up on the outside. Ecuador bounced well into third, then First Seal from Kermadec. Happy Clapper and Criterion settles last. He recovered pretty quickly, our boy Malachi, and he moves up on the outside of Holler into that bend. Ecuador with cover in third, followed by First Seal, then Kermadec. 2 further back to Happy Clapper on the outside of Criterion. Down the side of the course now, and it's Holler ahead in front from our boy Malachi. 2 further back to Ecuador. Then the mare First Seal saving plenty of ground on the fence. A length further back to Kermadec, who moves into a wider position from Criterion, and Happy Clapper sees them all. Coming to the turn, Holler in front from our boy Malachi. First Seal is travelling right up behind them. She's in a pocket at the moment. Then Ecuador from Happy Clapper. Kermadec troubles the outside into the straight, and Holler is the leader from our boy Malachi. First Seal's got to go back to the inside. outside. It's Holler still in front. First Seal's under the whip from our boy Malachi. Kermadec grinding away. Holler's going great guns. First Seal's coming back to the middle part of the track, but the bird's flown. Holler's going to lead all the way. Holler from First Seal and Kermadec. Happy Clapper got going for fourth. Then our boy Malachi, Ecuador and Criterion first run this prep trailed the field.
Group 1 glory here for Godolphin. James McDonald and John O'Shea. Holler takes the Canterbury Stakes.
Our boy Malachi may be a little bit suspect, 1300 at this Group 1 level. I'm on a 3-year-old. He's got his blinkers on. He's had a couple of runs back. He's fit, he's hard, and another smart ride by our lead.
0.4 and 34.52 the last 600 metres.
Well, he went up to 1400 metres and he just got popped by Mahuta back in trip and also small field, so a softer tempo.
I loved it, Jason. The 3-year-old colt pinged the gates. Our boy Malachi missed the jump and he left
on the Godolphin.
And he landed with a soft lead.
Yeah.
I thought he'd run super, being freshened up, back, sitting on speed, dominating. James McDonald gave him the peach of a ride. First Seal, she had every chance to ping him back, but this is what we like about him at the 12, the 13 and even shorter. He sits on the speed. If he gets a nice soft section mid-race like he did, he's got that acceleration and ping. And he wasn't drawn out. He was able to use his...
When our boy Malachi was slow into stride, Duff.
It did, and it's been a little bit of a habit he's got into, our boy Malachi. He's done it a fair bit in the past as well, but I just feel McDonald was aware that might happen. He had a plan in his head. He was on a 3-year-old with blinkers back on. It was a Group 1 race, and he seized the opportunity. I thought it was great tactics. He took our boy Malachi sort of out of his comfort zone early, where he loves to just dominate, dictate and sprint. And where Holler, that happened to him last time in Melbourne, where a horse dictated to him and left him cold. So I think they learnt from that experience, and it's... I thought it was just fantastic tactics, and this horse is, well, the job's done with him now. He's a Group 1 winner at 3 in a weight for age race, so they'd be very, very happy there.
He stepped away slowly, our boy Malachi, and I think that was a critical point when Holler was able to just grab the lead and pull up exactly when he wanted to.
He said the lead's mine.
Malachi had to come up outside him, and then he had to wrestle him a bit to get him to relax outside him. So it just... As you said, that made it very difficult for anything to come from behind him. You know, running faster times than that, that's the province of some very fast horses. I thought First Seal was excellent.
She was.
She just couldn't sprint with him when he went. He's a sprinter and she's probably a mile or more than anything, and she just couldn't sprint with him, but she worked to the line really well. I thought Kermadec was great. He looked great in the yard. He looked like he was fit to do something, and he's just got to find the right race.
Just out-sprinted, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I thought second, third and fourth were all very good runs.
Yeah, well, the fourth horse here, Happy Clapper, it's his first go at weight for age. Look at him finishing off there.
Yep.
He drops 9 kilos, third up into a Doncaster. He's certainly an interesting horse, but they're good race, good interest.
Group 2 weight for age challenge stakes. It's a $500,000 race over 1,000 metres, and we're going to start with English, who's on screen there with the clerk of the course. It's about to go out with Tommy Berry Duff.
380 out to 550. They're backing the stablemate Speak Fondly. 5 out to 550, back into $4.60. Rule the River, $19 into $16.
Looks as though Shiraz a bit restless. Was Boss Lane, the rough and racing. Felines from the outside jump well, so did Ball of Muscle on the rails. Lord of the Sky and Kinglike quickly into stride, followed by Speak Fondly. Then Rule the River settling down midfield, further back to Waterman, Shiraz. Second last is Boss Lane, and English is back last of all. It's Felines up on the outside, a Ball of Muscle with Lord of the Sky being restrained in third. Speak Fondly keen in fourth, Kinglike to the outside from Rule the River. Further back to Waterman, Shiraz, English and Boss Lane's last of all. Ball of Muscle straightens in by a length and a half to Felines. Lord of the Sky, Speak Fondly. Then Rule the River from Kinglike, Shiraz. English is still well back, being ridden for luck. It's Ball of Muscle in front. Felines trying hard from Kinglike. English is slicing through the middle. Ball of Muscle in front. English back to the inside. Wide out Kinglike and Boss Lane. English bursting along the rails from Kinglike. What a win! English comes from last to win the challenge. English got up to beat Kinglike and Boss Lane. Then Shiraz from Ottoman. Further back to Felines. Ball of Muscle, Speak Fondly, Rule the River and Lord of the Sky.
Well, She did everything possible to say, don't back me today. She sweated up. She was a mess. She got rid of Tommy Berry behind the gates. But right up on the inside, Berry's been able to drive her through, and she has done it. Kinglike second, very game. And what's that out wide?
Boss Lane out wide. I think it looks like him with the nose roll back in distance, doesn't he? He's the Randwick 1,000-metre horse. He reacts here. He's got a little bit of residual fitness on his side. Absolute terrible. She walked in. She was a nervous wreck. You could see her shaking. She was that. I know she's got
veins were up.
Yeah, she's got a bit of a history of it, but it was as bad as you'll see. Although when she got on with the pony and out there,
until she got rid of Tommy at the gates.
Yes, yes. That was a bit more Tommy's fault. But look, she ran right up. She had been trialling brilliantly leading into this. Always hard, first up after nearly a year off. I've got to give the Connections credit here, and Gay. They brought her up in the spring. She didn't trial any good. I thought, oh, you haven't come up, like she had a slipper meltdown after the slipper. So they just said, OK, we won't worry about the spring. We'll just look after her, kiss and cuddle her, get her back in the autumn, and look at the explosive turn of speed she shows here. Probably half a length worse up the fence here, but if you're travelling like the way she did, they've learnt to settle this filly, and she has been a little bit aggressive in the past, and look at what she can rattle off. That's very, very impressive.
You know what they ran in that last... The race time for the last 600 metres there was 33.9.
Wow.
She's given them 3-4 length start. She must have run 32 something her last 600. It's unbelievable what she did. And she went back to the fence there, and as you said, no one wanted to really be there, but it didn't affect her at all. Wow. And look,
I really like this Melbourne horse, Kinglike. I reckon he's got a bit of upside. He's just having a bit of a wander there, and Williams pulls the whip through to the left hand, and he didn't shirk his task.
No, there's a race in him.
Yeah, I don't know what race it is, but there is a race in him for sure. The 3-year-olds were very, very good there.
Race 7, the Girvan War, Randwick Guineas, Group 1, our feature race of the day, and we've got a shorty to take it out.
Well, he should be short. He's a star colt, Prestapen. He's just does everything right. He's a horse that's just a dream to ride. You can make one, ride him forward, ride him back, ride him anywhere in a...
Girvan War, Randwick Guineas over the mile, all the rage here. Prestapen, they're stepping in on track. 135 out to 140, back to 135. The only nibble still remains McIntosh.
Filly goes in. Stay with me. We're set racing for $1 million. The Girvan War, Randwick Guineas for the 3-year-olds. The old Canterbury Guineas, the first leg of the trip.
Just a slight hold up. Balmain Boy a little bit restless. They're off now, racing, and the favourite Prestapen was the first out, but there's plenty charging underneath. Dalcello's gone out quickly with Le Romain. Man of Choice is there, so's pushing forward Balmain Boy. Shard's pretty handy, so Bowman just eases back now on Prestapen, trying to get up on the outside of Gold Ambition. Then Stay With Me from Montaigne, Data Point Etymology, and Tulsa's been taken back to last. Balmain Boy goes through to lead. Dalcello parking up in second as they settle into stride. Shards is pretty handy. McIntosh the outside, and followed then by Man of Choice holding a good spot just behind the leaders. Further back to Le Romain has got a bit deep. Then Stay With Me on the fence. Prestapen. Then came Data Point from Gold Ambition. Montaigne's well back from Etymology, and Tulsa is the last one coming to the turn. Balmain Boy leads from Dalcello. McIntosh off the track from Man of Choice. Shards. Le Romain's got Prestapen in a pocket coming to the turn from Stay With Me. Then Data Point, Gold Ambition, Montaigne, Etymology, and Tulsa still back last. Prestapen strung up midfield as they straighten. Balmain Boy in front from Dalcello. Then Man of Choice. Prestapen still not clear. Le Romain gets going. Stay With Me's coming off the fence with a good run, and now Prestapen's bulldozing his way into the clear. Le Romain in front. Prestapen had to fight for his ground. Prestapen giving chase to Le Romain. Gold Ambition the outside. Le Romain from Prestapen. Le Romain clinging on, and Le Romain got the right run and won the Guineas from Prestapen. Gold Ambition third. Montaigne charging home, then Stay With Me from Balmain Boy, Shards, Data Point, Etymology, Tulsa, Man of Choice, McIntosh, and Dalcello was last to finish.
Well, Le Romain the horse that just keeps climbing and climbing right up racing's ladder. Press Statement. There's a story to tell there, but let's talk about the winner. Le Romain, he just kept digging and digging.
Yeah, certainly a great thrill, Rich. He's just kept handling every step that we've put in front of him. He's raised the bar every time and didn't have a great run again, but he got cover and...
in previous starts, and that can take their confidence away, but he didn't show any signs of that.
Well, he's, you know, Rich, when you got these horses, he's just showing he was on an upward spiral at home. You know, every time we gallop him, he just worked that little bit better. So I come to the...
I reckon he does.
Yeah, I reckon he did. Look, in an ideal world, he would have been clearer earlier as a $1.24 favourite, but you know, and it was amazing from barrier 12 how he ended up cluttered up in the field. So there was a, you know, there's a little knock on how it unfolded for Hugh Bowman, no doubt. But ultimately, he got out. He was a length and a bit off at the 200. I mean, and he's $1.20. You'd expect him to just get out and go bang and win, wouldn't you?
Hey, well done to Christian Lees, Christian.
The double Christian combination.
Outstanding. He was passed in Le Romain off the fence and was backing behind Le Romain. It was just really cushy, but then you thought, oh no, hang on, he's got horses 3 deep around him and he's in a tough spot, and he had to come back and give ground inside the 500 and lose about 1.5 lengths to 2 lengths. That was the winning, the losing decision.
Top of the show. Great ride.
It was. Look, he got into a bit of position there, Christian, where he thought, well, I don't know how Press Statement ended up inside me. And he says, well, I've got to do something about this. I'm going to be caught with no cover. And he showed intent, and he shoved into a 3 wide with cover position, where while Press Statement was getting held up and not in his sort of comfort zone, he was off and gone. And the most surprising thing, he was a little bit of a query running out a strong Randwick mile, Le Romain, but I thought he was very, very good, hitting the line very well there. I'm going to be it's hard to be forgiving if you've taken the $1.30, but I just think he's never really been in a position like that, Press Statement, where he's had a bit of a shove around in a race and had to bump his way out of a run. You know, it's a whole new experience for him. Although, once he did bump into the clear at this stage, I thought, well, you're entitled to, you know, with your class and your ability, you're entitled to just run over the top of him here. So I thought Gold Ambition was good. There was the filly battled on OK, Stay With Me. As far as a Derby point of view, or a Rosehill Guineas point of view, I'm finding it hard to single one or two out there. Yeah, it was just a strong.
Did cover ground.
Gee, what a day of boilovers it's been at Randwick today. 20. No, absolutely. When you're back last, you duck up on the inside. It was clearly the worst place to be. Stay With Me ran solidly. She'll probably head back towards fillies now. It's been who will win this year's Australian Guineas. Wandjina won the race again. They combine with River. New Zealand. He's the second highest rating 3-year-old ever to arrive in Australia. The highest rating on 126 versus his 125 was the mighty Bone Crusher. So he rates above Ocean Park, Jimmy Shoe. I mean, it's extraordinary, his ratings.
Yeah, it is that. And of course, 4 dry track wins at home by an aggregate of 24.5 lengths. He runs the times and sectionals of a serious Group 1 horse. So I'm with him.
Claire, your thoughts?
So, we're going to get a fair go.
A lot of talk about how he sort of parades before a race. He likes to get up on toe and act like a colt.
Well,
the Group 1 Guineas.
Right, guys, clear.
And they're off. Extravagant began as fast as he usually does in New Zealand, and he pounced on the lead immediately. Away quickly is Perfect Reflection. Mahuta's up there and going forward, sailing by. But it's Extravagant who holds them out early. Mahuta on the move goes to second. Sailing by is third. Perfect Reflection is fourth. And they're followed then by River Wild, who's jumped away well. He's now being passed by Snoopy and then Vanbrugh, followed by Risque at the 1,200 metres. A length away, ready for victory. And he's followed by Jamaica, Sovereign Nation, Bonor and Palentino. Has gone well back, and then Tavachi. They race together, and at the end of the field is Tarzino by the 1,000 metres, and Extravagant shows the way. He's 3/4 on Mahuta. Snoopy deep out moved into third, and then Perfect Reflection sailing by. Risque is next, and Tavachi on a wide move at the 800 metres, going around the outside very quickly, followed by Jamaica. Palentino well back and wide, trying to work his way into it, and Tarzino off the course as they run around the home bend. It's Tavachi who's on an early move to tackle Extravagant. He's wide out and he's gone up and levelled up with the great New Zealander. Mahuta between them, third, followed by Snoopy and Risque coming on down the outside, and Jamaica's in the clear, and Tarzino and Palantino having a bit of a bumping duel. Extravagant right against the fence, the leader from Tavares. They went past the 300 metres. There's not much between the pair, and now Risque is starting to close, and Jamaica's on the outside, followed by Palantino and Tarzino. 100 metres left to go, and up the middle of the course they come. Risque, Palantino, Tarzino. It's Palantino hitting the front from the Tarzino. Palantino just beat Tarzino. Risque will run third, and they're followed by River Wild fourth. Back behind those to finish was Jamaica and Vanbrugh, ready for victory. Extravagant wilted in the run home from Sailing By and Snoopy. Sovereign Nation, Javachi, followed by Mahuta. Bonorum towards the end, and Perfect Reflection last home.
What a race, what a performance. Palantino avenging for that remarkable protest that we had here at Flemington a couple of weeks ago, where he was first across the line but losing it in the Stewards' inquiry. Has come out on top in the Australian Guineas. A brilliant ride by Mark Zara for Darren Weir. Number 9, Palantino, gets the prize over Tarzino, who was terrific closing in from the back of the field, the Derby winner. And third in has gone to number 8, Tavachi. 9-8. What a race, Gator.
It's justice, Shane, is what it is. Justice for Palantino, robbed of the Hay Stakes, and today storms over the top of them at Group 1 level. I thought it might be the make.
Amazing, what you say. He does deserve it after last week, and didn't everything go away again today, but he's just tough. That last bit, geez, he was good. He's done it with the saddle slip, then laying all over me for 600 metres, and eventually had to get him out of the way, and he was the strongest horse, so there to beat him. Everything went right, and he was still too good.
Good horse. So a group of owners here that look like they're having a great time, mate. There's going to be some party tonight.
Yeah, this will be a good party, this one. There's a lot of groups and a lot of syndicates in this horse. Obviously, not one owner to that sale, and got the result, I guess.
Yeah, and some good mates who are involved, obviously, from Warrnambool. There's Country Racing Victoria people involved. Mick Johnson, who you've had some fun with.
Stewards are in charge, so we'll just have to accept whatever comes our way, but I would think we'd be okay.
Okay, the margin was pretty tight in the end. I mean, you've got yourself a magnificent horse, but you want a Group 1. I believe that a decision's about to be made, so good luck to you.
Thanks, Richard.
Lachlan McKenzie, the CEO of in the Group 1 Australian Guineas. The Derby winner Tarzino has protested against him. I think we're about to resume what has been a very eventful, 30 minutes or so here.
Mika, which in our view contributes to the interference and the grounds of your objection at that point, at the 600. So therefore we go into the straight, and in our view your mount, Craig Newitt, does come in and make contact with Palantino slightly at this point. And then when Palantino commences to come out, in our view, both horses, whilst there may have been some slight contact, both horses then continue to shift out. Weighing all that up, we're not comfortably satisfied that it's enough to reverse the decision, so the protest dismissed in correct weight. Thank you.
Extraordinary outcome here, and just great relief for the owners of Palantino. Protest dismissed. We have...
Yeah, I guess the positive there, they got to celebrate twice. They got the win and then one later on, so they got 2 lots of cheers, and might be double drinks tonight. But Palantino, for mine, deserved to win. Terrific, tough.
Filler. I mean, $85,000 purchase, Magic Millions in Tasmania, and he is so tough, isn't he?
Yeah, he showed at this prep. Last prep, he seemed to be a bit more...
Just take us through the protest and, what you were, off the back of what happened 2 weeks ago, what you were thinking. You're a little bit more vocal this time. I think last time you probably didn't say enough to clarify. This time you're a little bit more vocal. I didn't see any grounds whatsoever. I might be old-fashioned. I saw no grounds. I just saw it as a horse race, basically, with a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
It was a tight margin.
You had to have
it was a tight margin, a half.
You had to have it.
But they can't run in lanes. They can't run in lanes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I knew out there was a little bit of buffering, and I had in the back of my mind, massive chance of a protest here. I just thought, and especially after last week, I thought, sure enough, he's going to protest. And then I came in, put my gear down.
Here it is now.
And then...
So, Mark, what happened at the 600? Froggy whipped around you and he put a long neck on you and held you in a pocket. Did he come in and just touch with you there?
He did. So, Nick Hall went forward and sort of just shaved up a bit, or Damien tried to come back around his heels, and I was sort of just outside Damien Hills, so he came out onto me, and we just probably lost a little bit of momentum, and Craig Froggy's seen this, and he rushed forward outside me and tried to hold me in behind Damien.
Jamaica, yeah.
And, you know, not that he rode into me, but he was riding tight the whole time, obviously wanting to hold me there, because I was obviously one of the chances. And there was not much in it, like I thought at the time. There's not a lot in it. And then in the straight, like, if he was going any good, he would have put half a length on me and kept me right in behind Damien, I thought, but he couldn't do it.
So I think he was going well, but you were going...
And up the middle of the course they come. Risque, Palantino, Tarzino. It's Palantino hitting the front from the Tarzino. Palantino just beat Tarzino. Risque will run third, and they're followed by River Wild fourth.
Palantino, awesome. A sick feeling in the stomach of one of the Victorian studs that did have a deal done at the start of the week, drew a wide barrier and reneged on the deal. Now he's worth double the money. Ouch. Palantino wins. Tarzino terrific en route towards Sydney for the Derby. Risque, the Group 1 winner from New Zealand, was fantastic. The first of the fillies runs third. Ditto River Wild, ditto Jamaica. Vanbrugh flashed home. So there's so many really terrific runs in a high pressure race. Great stuff by Palantino there. 2,000 metres, that was 1,600. Could he run 2,000, Mark, you think?
I think so. He needs to just learn to relax a little bit better, I think, but last week and this week, I just think...
Palantino, there he is in those maroon and white colours of Darren Weirs with the blaze, just pushing Tarzino out of the way here, which ended up in the steward's room later. Extravagant there, the Kiwi star was leading. He kicked hard in the straight along the fence there, and he looked the winner about here.
Oh, how didn't they uphold this, Richard? How didn't they uphold this?
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. They were great runs, both these two horses. They're very good horses, don't worry about that. And there's Risque, the filly, in the lime green there. She looked a winner for a stage there. She was jumping up from 1,200 metres to 1,600 second up. That was a fantastic run from her. But on the outside there, Palantino he was just too strong for the other horse. I think Tarzino definitely had his chance to beat him. They were a bit of buffeting there. You watch Palantino push him out of the way now. Right?
He shoved him out of the way. What are you talking about?
I think Tarzino had his chance to get past Palantino before that happened. So, look, in the end, I think it was the right result here. The horse did deserve a win. He's got that very big win. Group 1, $750,000 race. And Tarzino, well, I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with the way he's going. He is flying.
Well, this is a terrific horse, Palantino. He's got a tremendous will to win. He lacks race sense. When the speed slowed again there, he got his head up, so he's a bit of a bludger as far as that's concerned, but look at the winning strike rate that he's got. He is an absolute beauty. Craig Newitt did everything right on Tarzino. There's nothing wrong with the ride, but he's the most aggressive rider we've got in the land. Didn't even feel for the whip there. Hands and heels to the line. What, considering the program he's...
Started 350, Mount Panorama 420. Glenn Munsey's market update in a moment. Late Mar with Ron Doversey, but now here's Caroline with her pick of the yard.
Thank you, Greg. I think number 7, Attention, stands out as a ready-made little 2-year-old. His
And we're set now for the running of the Pago. Pago over 1,200 metres. Last chance to get into the slipper. And we're all set. Racing, Mount Panorama missed it by about a half length, and Lionhearted jumped best. From the Reverend Demon, Souchet was well enough away on the inside. Then Potent Force, Mount Panorama picking up on the rails, followed by Shimbora. Mediterranean's caught deep, being snagged back from Ocean City, then Bray. And Attention's being hooked back to last of all. It's Souchet on the inside of Lionhearted. Joint leaders going to the first turn, and Souchet just has it. From the Reverend Demon, and Preble saving ground on the fence on Mount Panorama. Slides up right behind the leaders now, followed by Potent Force from Shimbora. Ocean City on the fence, further back to Mediterranean, then Brand. Attention's the last one. Souchet, Lionhearted, Mount Panorama, the 3 favourites, 1, 2, 3 around the corner. The Reverend Demon just laying out a bit under pressure, and then came further back to Potent Force. Souchet in front from Lionhearted, who travels up strongly. Mount Panorama pushing into the clear. Souchet the rails from Lionhearted. Mount Panorama's trying to round them up. Souchet's kicking. strongly. Mount Panorama is the only danger by the looks of it. Souchet from Mount Panorama. Shimbora's flashing home. Souchet in front. Souchet's going to win the Pago. Shimbora sustained a long run to grab second in front of Mount Panorama. Then came Lionhearted. Further back to Mediterranean. The Reverend Demon from Bray. Attention Ocean City. And Potent Force was the last in.
OK, we'll stand by for the numbers to go up. Souchet, solid favourite. The market mover on tab. James McDonald.
Concerned. I don't know what to think about him. I know he's highly talented, but he was certainly outpointed in the manners department here today by the winner.
Souchet in front, Mount Panorama. Keep your eye on what Treble does, and Shimbora.
Yeah, look, he got a few favours, which he was always going to do from the inside barrier, this Souchet. He's a nice horse. Whether he's a slipper type, I'm not so sure, but he digs in. He, Lionhearted gets up and has a go at him here, and he fights him off, and I thought Mount Panorama comes off his back there. I think he's going to pounce on him, but he's still doing plenty wrong, this Mount Panorama.
He's a slow learner, isn't he?
Yeah, whether he wants gelding or he wants a break or a gear change, I don't know, but we'll leave that to the trainer. But Shimbora, he keeps improving. I think Sammy might have rode him. He ran on strongly into second place there as well. But look, he's a nice horse to win. Whether he's a slipper type, I highly doubt.
I'll be surprised if any of them are slipper winners there. Mediterranean, actually, from the back.
Make a nice trip.
Yeah, he ran on 9.
More on that in a sec. Said Edenhope. But on track.
Stand by. Racing. Oh, Calliope's missed the start by a length. Favier gets back. Kentucky Miss got away well, and Meridian Star, the Victorian filly, showing plenty of speed with Super 2. Suspenders mustering up on the outside from Prompt Response, who settles in fourth on the inside of Kentucky Miss. Then Twist Tops. Calliope's up midfield now. Two further back to Ome Sword, then Lara Panetta from Bridal Lane. Faraway Town, Brulé, and Favier's back last. Super 2 and Meridian Star cut out a decent speed with Prompt Response and Suspenders Park just behind. Then Calliope, three back the fence from Kentucky Miss, a length off to Twist Tops. Then Ome Sword from Bridal Lane. Lara Panetta pulling to the outside, and well back is Faraway Town as they race to the turn. It's Super 2 and Meridian Star clear from Prompt Response. Suspenders. Calliope's working into the clear. Kentucky Miss going with it, and Twist Tops is down the outside. Calliope sprints very quickly, and Calliope races to the lead from Kentucky Miss. Then Twist Tops and Prompt Response the rails. Calliope in front with 100 metres to run. Ome Sword down the outside. Calliope a half in front to Ome Sword. Calliope clings on, and it's Calliope from Ome Sword. Twist Tops third from Prompt Response. Then Faraway Town. Suspenders. Favier making ground from Kentucky Miss. Then Brulé from Lara Panetta. Bridal Lane, Meridian Star and Super 2, both the leaders knocked up.
They've got another one. They've got another one into the slipper here. The boys in blue. Calliope, after missing the start. James McDonald had a three back on the inside. Coming to the home turn, he was going to risk nothing. And he got it. 5 or 6 years have been later comers than what Ome Sword is.
Yeah, that's true. Whether he'll keep going with her over the Randwick Carnival or ease off with her with that in mind, which he's done in the...
Some more work, because she was a bit slow to begin today.
Yeah, just a little bit on the back foot there, but obviously had the luxury of an inside draw. Another perfect McDonald ride. He's just riding so well at the moment. Obviously, he's on good cattle, but he's getting the job done. She was presented at the right time. This is the first time the fillies have run quicker than the boys. So they should have, because this was a high-pressure race. And
they ran a half second quicker, but they came home a half a second slower.
That's
so
right.
I don't know that there was a lot between them, but just a different way the races have run, as you said.
This is a very good filly, the second filly, Ome Sword.
Yeah,
I don't know what the plans are with her, whether they think she's a size or champagne sort of a filly.
Well, I'd be looking that way, but I don't think that Chris Waller thinks about them quite that way. Chris seems more circumspect, reluctant, reticent to go to those sort of
sometimes
keep pushing her.
Well, Chris's pattern is maybe freshen up with his good 2-year-olds. He's proven that the pattern is Queensland.
Yeah, well, he's
won all the
all right. But good turn of foot there from Calliope. She was able to accelerate when needed,
right.
and left a few standing, floundering a little bit.
She's got to go to the races 3 weeks in a row. Like, she went to the races and got to the barrier there, and then she had to back up, and then she's got to back up again. But look, she's...
Isn't it amazing?
And in condition, faultless.
OK, we just don't get a great view of Pearl. She's with the clerk of the horse you're tipping. Here's Kieran Maher with Richard Freedman.
Well, Karen, she's come up from Victoria. She looks beautiful in the yard. You must be happy with her.
7, 12, 1 and 9. I think she's all class, this Ascadelia. Love the way Kieran's presented her here out in the market as well. She's been a big go on track here to solicit the likely leader. Track's drying out and the leaders are probably got a, you know, it's a length advantage to be up there and the punters are rallying.
Pearls is a $21 chance as well, $20. Joins them. The Group 1 Coolmore Classic. Here's Darren Flindell.
We're set for a start in the Coolmore Classic. And they're off and racing. Pretty good line out overall. Telepathic will settle back last and Solicit flew the leads. Cassoni jumped well, so did Vergara away into third. Pearls is pretty handy. Then Zamba on the rails from Peeping Ascadelia midfield. Telepathic making ground on the fence. Further back to Politeness from Lucia Valentina. Amicus drifting back and Slightly Sweet's last. It's Solicit in front, steadying the speed from the filly Cassoni. Vergara in third, then Pearls. A length further back and the red cap to Peeping. Length and a half to Zambar from Ascadelia. Further back to Politeness, caught 3 wide into the corner. From Telepathic, Lucia Valentina. Amicus and Slightly Sweet is the last one. 800 metres to run. Solicit on top by a length. To Cassoni being quietly ridden by Corey Brown in second. Then Vergara and Pearls doing the chasing. 2 further back to Peeping from Zambar. Ascadelia pulling out deep is Politeness from Telepathic. Lucia Valentina, Slightly Sweet, and Amicus is still back last on the turn. Solicit in front. Brown sits quietly on Cassoni. Solicit being revved up now from Cassoni, who sticks on. It's Solicit a length clear from Cassoni. They're well clear from the rest. Ascadelia Peeping making ground. Solicit in front from Cassoni. She's got the job to get there. Rattling home is Peeping and Ascadelia now. Solicit in front, but Peeping's looming large. Peeping and Ascadelia the outside. Peeping races to the lead and Peeping takes it out. Peeping wins the Coolmore from Ascadelia. Solicit third, Lucia Valentina ran on. Then came Van Bar from Telepathic. Further back to Pearls from Vergara. Amicus, Slightly Sweet, and Politeness was among the tail enders.
Well, what a big moment for this young man. Sam Clipperton has ridden his first Group 1 winner. So many have done this in this Coolmore Classic, and it's Sam Clipperton's day today. And he does it for his old boss, the man who taught him how to ride from day one. Ronnie Quinton has bagged another Group 1 himself. Pete.
Right out.
All right, the Kelly boys are here. Ronnie.
At Rosehill off the back of that race.
There's the dividend. And his protege, Sam Clipperton, a great result. And she's been a terrific mare for Connections. She started $15 fixed, defeating Ascadelia. Another big effort by the Kiramar trained mare. Solicit brave on speed. Gazzoni, who was beaten as one of the leading contenders, the filly for Godolphin. She wasn't too bad yesterday, but all credit to the winner.
Yeah, it was a beautiful ride by young Sammy Clipperton too, and the great Ronnie Quinton will say, I couldn't have done it better myself, son. Look, she was a Group 2 winner herself prior to this in the Group 2 pen. And she was close up to Solicit there last start. She was just peaking beautifully there, the 4-year-old mare, impeccably bred, and her pedigree paid.
How good a trainer is our sideshow Bob, Kieran Maher, though? Like, I know it didn't come off, but he's cherry-picked with Stracandi. He knew Brisbane was the place. Bang, bang, bang. Ascadelia just came unstuck yesterday. I mean, I know he's singing...
Back running last, but he can judge the speed of a race. Anyway, we'll get to that later. Oh, you don't get cranky too early.
Going to be a good show, Ronnie. Third win in the race. Twice as a trainer now, and won it as a jockey as well.
I won it twice as a jockey.
So 4 wins for you.
Actually won the first one ever.
Let's have a look at Peeping.
Yeah, look, what a ride. You know, look, it looked tricky to me on paper. I know there was speed underneath and probably a couple of slow ones drawn in close as well, but she did have barrier 9 in a big Group 1 where no favours are given, and gee, she... For a mare that was going into the race, we all thought, oh, she may be a little bit sus at the end of this 1500 at this level. But it was a great ride. It was a great ride by Sam. And look, Ascadelia, I think, was very good. There's still upside for her to go on and train onto this championships and be very, very competitive, obviously. And look, Solicit battled on there. There was a few other good runs, but just a huge result for everyone concerned there. First Group 1 win for Sam, and it was an absolute beauty, a ride he'll never forget.
Just on the beaten brigade, yeah, I agree with Solicit. Was good. Gassoni just weakened late there and pretty good for a 3-year-old filly in that company, I thought, in that sort of race. I thought Lucia Valentina ran on well.
Always goes well, Fred.
First up, she ran on nicely, and there's a race in it. I thought Ascadelia had a chance. She was only a length from peeping on the corner and ended up 2 or 3 lengths, 2.5, 3 lengths behind her at one stage in the straight, and started to pick her up again, but I thought she had a chance.
I'm not saying she didn't have a chance. I just think there might be a little bit of upside left with her.
Maybe.
Saturday at Flemington, 3 races down as we take a look at the market for the 4th, and here we have one of our best back runners of the afternoon. Stratum Star for the Darren Weir camp is now into $2.40 after being $2.80. It's been a real good go for the favourite here. It's pushed the United States out. That doesn't happen very often, does it? $4.20 out to $5.50. There's been some money for Hiyoshi at 6 into $5.
For the 62nd running of the Group 2 Blamey Stakes over 1,600 metres, a race that's produced many top-class winners over the years, including Rising Fast, Tobin Bronze, Gun Sin, Better Loosen Up and Vo Rogue, just to name a few.
Field is ready, 1,600. And they're off and racing. Starters caught them in quite a good line. Kenjwood away very swiftly on the inside, and Stratum Star got away fast, and there's Entirely Platinum going forward, and so is Trust and August. From deep out, he's coming over to get right on the speed again, and the United States is going to settle off this quartet in 5th placing. He jumped pretty well. As they settle fully, Kenjwood had it from Trust and August. Entirely Platinum's 2 lengths away third, and they're 4 lengths on Stratum Star. 5 lengths further back in a very fast run race here is the United States on the inside of Hiyoshi. About 3 behind them is Mandawi, Gardini, and 4 lengths further back is Observational, and Digitalism must be wondering what's going on. They're going very fast, and the field stretched right out over 30, 40, 50 lengths. Kenjwood the leader at the 800 by a half. Trust and August, and they're 3 lengths. Entirely Platinum, 2.5 to Stratum Star, still 4 or 5 to Hiyoshi, who's racing over on the outside of the United States, and Gardini trying to work into the clear, followed then by Observational, and then Mandawi and Digitalism about 4 lengths away, ridden along. Around the bend they come. Kenjwood railing well, leads by about 3 lengths. Trust and August, and then on the outside Entirely Platinum. Now Stratum Star called on for his run. He's starting to wind up, and Gardini's coming home well too, and the United States has made ground on the inside. Now Kenjwood came back. They raced to the 200 metres. The United States got up on the rail and hit the front. Stratum Star's after him, and Hiyoshi joining in on the outside. The United States from Stratum Star. Hiyoshi's coming home best of all of them. 50 or 60 to go. Hiyoshi raced up to the United States, put his head in front, and Hiyoshi by a neck the United States. Stratum Star in third, then Kenjwood, Entirely Platinum, Gardini. He just willed it on his run. It was a pretty good effort. Followed then Digitalism, Observational, Mandawi, and Trust and August. Well, there's obviously going to be an issue there. He's a distant last.
Back to 1,600 metres, the key for he or she. Wait for age, 1,800 metres. He was solid enough, but he drops back in trip and drops down in the weights, gets to a set weights with penalty race and wins and defeats the United States. He'll go out for a spell and get set for the spring. That's a pass mark again for him. Stratum
speed. The record here, 133.49. Long-standing record held by Scenic Peak.
That's right, that's a long...
What Entirely Platinum?
Well, as I mentioned, they went at a brutal speed early. I think the first 800 metres of that race was around 46.8 seconds, thereabouts, from the barriers to the 800. That is just ridiculous. Overall time, 134.99. Hiyoshi winning for David and Tom Dabinick. And he finished the race off as strong as, well, he possibly could. He had the best closing fractions, 8, 6, 4 and 2.
Amazing, isn't it, for some horses? Like, he looks like a big, strong, powerful horse, Hiyoshi, but the difference between weight for age and back to handicaps, isn't it? Like, he was horrible the previous start at weight for age, just didn't come on at all. But then you get down the weights, you get a race run to suit, you get all these little factors that change, and then he's just strong to the line and goes on. And I think he's a little bit of a tease, the United States. He's always going to be running those. I'd love to know what the right race for the United States is, but he ran well again. And whenever you get Kenjwood, every now and then he'll do that. He'll just tear a field apart with tempo, won't he? And then it'll be last man standing. So.
I think he or she, the jump from 14 to 18, then at weight for age, the 18, found him out a little bit. Just a little bit freshened back to the mile on a hot speed. That's his go. He's got lots of it. Augusta, I think he's retired after that. Will he be going to stud?
That looks to be the latest there on Trust and August. We'll get further confirmation there shortly. Let's...
Yes, we come to race 5's market and always thought this is the toughest race of the day, and there's been a few changes at the top of the betting. To Catch a Fire is now into $4.20, so that started to get some support. Earlier on it was for Don't Doubt Mama, but that's still second favourite, but it's gone out from $4.20 to $4.60 since we looked at the preview at the start of the program. Batawaya had a nice bet, got it in from $5.50 to $5. It's holding its price there.
Kewney Stakes, the 65th running of this race. It's been won by some star fillies over the years, probably none better than the other runner, which is Daniela Rossa, 11, now out to $17. It's going to be a fantastic contest, this, the Kewney Stakes. Gator over the year.
Ready to go. They're off. Egypt a little bit slow, and Jackie's Joy out the back too, and Mossing around ping the stalls, led Butterweir, and Daniela Rosa is up there too, with Bengal Cat improving quickly, gets up to 4th. Catch a Fire a handy 5th, then came in Dara, followed by Labdian over on the outside, followed Egypt. Labdian posted wide in 5th, improving. 2 lengths to Catch a Fire in Dara. Egypt along the inside, followed by Sempre Labira. Jackie's Joy, Don't Doubt Mama at the tail, 600 left to go, and Bengal Cat moved up on the outside and headed Mossman around. They've both gone fairly swiftly. They lead from Butterweir, and then Daniela Rosa pulled to the outside, cornering in. Further back as Labdian, Catch a Fire trying to come through the field. Egypt saving all the ground on the rail. Don't Doubt Mama still second last when they went to the 300. Mossman around, kicked again, and went to the lead once more. Butterweir starting to close. Bengal Cat in the centre looks to have run her race, and Butterweir raced away. Butterweir kicked away on them. Here's Don't Doubt Mama starting to come home with Labdian on the outside, but all Butterweir, and Butterweir bolted in by 2.5 lengths to Don't Doubt Mama. Egypt along the rail grabs third ahead of Labdian, Mossing around. Daniela Rosa, Jackie's Joy in Dara. Bengal Cat dropped out. Catch a Fire dropped out too. Sempre Labira, one of the last all the way.
Oh, first up run, Butterweir. Well, Mick Price pre-race saying he's playing catch-up with her. Well, I can't wait till she gets to the top, because she'll be taking a power beating into Group 1. It'll probably be in Sydney. We saw her running
right at the top of the tree in a terrific year for 3-year-old fillies. I'm convinced of that. Had a nice run in transit, bat and ball, and went home.
Another way of losing your money.
Yeah, another way.
There you go.
10s into 8s. Don't even get a run for it. But look, she would have been hard pressed to beat Butterweir, who was so impressive here today.
But I'd love the opportunity to see, though.
Correct weight. Yeah. You'd love to know.
We might have to add that to a file, I think.
Bit of extra.
Oh, she certainly delivered in spades yesterday. Butterweir, first up, an outstanding win. Mick Price and Craig Newitt. She ran right away from her rivals. Don't Doubt Mama good again. And Egypt has really turned her form around in recent times. It was another good effort. But class above, I thought, yesterday, Butterweir. But Don't Doubt Mama has just become such a wonderful benchmark filly, Simon. I mean, she runs well in every one of her races.
Well, she does, but the pattern didn't really suit her yesterday. She had that awkward draw, and she was always going to be 3-4 pairs back, getting cover and trying to use that turn of foot. When you see a first up performance by Butterweir coming off a couple of hot trials for Pricey, I'll just go back to her win at Flemington prior to her backing up a week later and running third in 1,000 guineas. It was phenomenal. This is a high-class filly, Paddy.
Is this the year of Mick Price? I mean, Mick has been a terrific trainer for 20, 25 years, but he's just lining up the ducks now, isn't he? He's got the champion staying 3-year-old. This is a star. This might be the best 3-year-old filly around, Butterweir. He's got the 2 favourites for the Golden Slipper. I wonder, you know, like...
So Glenn Boss, the rider, has been dumped here off counter-attack as the horse careers off down to the start. So this is a sensation before the running of the Newmarket Handicap. $7.50, $8, then back into 2016.
Well, I'd counter-attack on top, but he probably can't win if he doesn't run. He's out, scratched, I'm just hearing. So counter-attack will scratch here. So I'm left with Japanisme on top. I'm not upset about it. Chautauqua, a live danger, obviously. Delectation, Churchill Dancer.
All right, let's hear from Wayne Hawke.
It's not about me, don't get me wrong, but I mean, just walking up after I saddled him up and all the people walk up and you're saying, you know, good luck and everything like that. And as I said, it's about the horse, it's not about me, because I cannot run fast. But it's great for racing that you just...
And loving it! 7, 10, 20, 30,000, all on Chautauqua. Now, the deductions will come at about 14% with that late scratching of counter-attack. So out to $2.90, bring it back to about $2.50. But, yeah, it's the biggest go of the day. It'll decide our day, Chautauqua. Shane, it's just massive.
All right, thanks for that, Matty.
$4.10 for the Miners to race number 4 now. There's been an important late scratching ahead of the Newmarket Handicap. Counter-attack through Glen Boss, and the rider, well, the horse has been scratched. So perhaps your best at odds all day is out. Counter-attack horse number 10.
Spring, which is such an important race for a 3-year-old's career, so he's got the right credentials.
Okay, and Delectation came through the lightning well?
Yeah, he did. He's definitely a 1,200 metre type horse.
Ready to go. And they're off. And Chautauqua jumped away okay. Delectation threw his head in the air. The quarterback might have got a bit of backwash there. Japanisma Secret Agenda began fast, and so did Kewney Ray. And Charmed Harmony is plotting his own course up the middle of the track, virtually on his own there. Blackheart Barter dropped in behind the speed as they settled fully. And over towards this side, Secret Agenda showing the way with Kewney Ray and Japanisma. They're clear then from Churchill Dancer. Chautauqua was just on the back of Japanisma at the moment, followed then by Delectation. Blackheart Bart closer to the middle of the track. The quarterback is last of that division, and Churchill Dancer's hard to say where he lines up at the moment, coming up solo up the middle of the course. Heading towards the 400 metres mark now, down towards the business end of the race, and Kewney Ray and Secret Agenda being joined by Japanisma. Churchill Dancer now done, gets to work on Chautauqua. He's closest to the outside rail, starting to wind up, coming to the 200 metre mark. They're right across the track here. Blackheart Bart bursting through near the inside. Chautauqua the quarterback, and Japanisma across the track with 100 metres to go. Blackheart Bart, the quarterback, coming at him. Blackheart Bart, the quarterback, they hit the line. The quarterback, I think, from Blackheart Bart in the photo finish. Chautauqua might be third from Churchill Dancer, then Japanisma. Back behind them, Charmed Harmony, and they were followed behind those as Kewney Ray, Delectation and Secret Agenda. It's a photo, and he's going to win it, the quarterback. Look.
The quarterback is a Group 1 winner. The quarterback will win for Robbie Griffiths. Robbie Griffiths gets his first Group 1 after being one of the top 10 trainers in Victoria for a decade plus. He finally gets the Group 1. He deserves it. And the quarterback steams down the outside to get...
Great story it is for Robbie Griffiths and the team. Been knocking on the Group 1 door for years and gets it in one of the big ones, the Newmarket Handicap with...
He's got for such a long time, and he's had some terrific horses. He's been runner-up on a number of Group 1s, and he's just missed.
Stakes winner, how good was that? Outstanding, Sammy. That's my third. And look, if ever there was a bloke that deserved a Group 1, it's probably Griffiths. Mate, I couldn't be more happier for him. This horse has always been...
To be such a popular win amongst the other trainers.
Oh, absolutely. And look, he's, you know, they all work hard, all the trainers, but certainly Robbie's deserved that, hasn't he? As you touched on, he's been knocking on the door for so long, and so many narrow seconds over the journey.
But we're just so happy with him coming into this run, and Matthew was was crook on Tuesday morning, and Ivan galloped him, and just thought that he said, I'm telling you, he's just so ready. And I said to Craig Newitt before the race, I said, you know, if they make one error, he's really peaking. I just reckon he's ready to go. So
well done, Maxie, too, by the way.
It's unbelievable, yeah. And Maxie's done a great job with him, and would have been great if he was here with us, but I know he's here, you know, cheering us on, so it was fantastic. So
it's been a long time coming, this Group 1. How does it feel?
It's amazing. I just said to Pete Donegan that, you know, last 100 metres was probably running 5.5 seconds or something. It felt like about 45 minutes for me. I couldn't wait for the line to come up for him to cross it, and it was just unbelievable. It's an amazing feeling. We've been a top 10 stable for so long, and we haven't had the luck on the big days. And Angelic Light probably retired, a non-Group 1 winner, and should have been. And, you know, we've been so close on so many occasions. So I thought I was going to be a quiz board question forever, but anyway, it's finally nice to be recognised with some of the greats of racing. And
performance to come from the clouds to win the 143rd Newmarket Handicap. The quarterback, a son of Street Boss, out of Serena for Robbie Griffiths and Craig Newitt. $21 fixed was the starting price. A big run by the West Aussie Blackheart Bart. First up for Darren Weir and Damien Lane, going down narrowly. And Chautauqua brave again as top weight, 58 kilos, Team Hawks and Dwayne Dunn. Guys, as we have a look at the sectional times there, the quarterback has always been able to produce, Simon, electrifying late acceleration in a race. And look at that. I mean, he's broken 43.5 seconds last 800, just so quick all the way through.
Well, that's his CV. That's his race pattern. Ride him cold, Matty, and let him rip down the outside. And when he was at Chautauqua's girth at the clock tower, you knew this could be his day.
Exactly. And Robbie, it's funny how difficult it is to win your first Group 1, because I spoke to Froggy after the race. He said, oh man, I got smashed at the start, so it nearly didn't work out. Don't worry about that. And so he got smashed, but it put him in the slipstream of the horse you wanted to be behind. As we see him sort of on the slow-mo here, he sort of had his back and then he just peeled at it. It was a dream after the little hiccup at the start, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, the hiccup at the start was a concern, but
from the barrier draws, when acceptances come through and he drew where he did around the horses like Chautauqua, the race was
a great spot to be. And Dean, being the good judge he is, he started cheering a fair way out. He knew he was in the lane, and it was always like he was getting pulled along that lane.
There was no early crow though.
Well, I reckon he thought he had the grey. I think he thought he had the grey beaten a fair way out too. So that was that out of the way. So at what point were you? I know this has been 21 years in the making, so you weren't going to crow. But was there a point, a fair way out, where you thought, hang on a minute, this is going all right?
Yeah, I was certainly around the 450, 500 metre mark. I was really confident when he started to toe up behind Chautauqua, and you could just see Dwayne Dunn starting to niggle Chautauqua. So I thought that we were really on song then. So yeah, Dean last night he said he felt like going the early crow about the 600.
He did. I was with him.
We're going to give, as Simon mentioned in the interview,
doing now. But then if you just let him wind up, which you can do at Flemington, and you can't do it at Caulfield in the Oakley Plate, you can reel off these sustained speed like Shane showed before with his sectionals, and there's nothing impeding him at Flemington, whereas you've got too much traffic and congestion in corners when he's in the Oakley Plate. So it makes it hard, and you end up that 1.95 lengths behind like he did on that day.
Got to say to Weary and the team, Bart was phenomenal. He had the race shot. But Robbie, there's a big team.
The favourite at $3.60 ahead of the Godolphin 3-year-old Exosphere. English, who won first up the other day for Gay Waterhouse at $9. Japanesme at $11. Delectation, who was disappointing yesterday, $13 along with Holler.
Yesterday, you know, the history of horses carrying the 58s, Black Caviar's Hailers, buffering from memory.
Shaftesbury Avenue.
Shaftesbury Avenue was another one up there in the weight. So I think the point of difference, maybe they were on-pace roller, dominate type horses. Maybe it's more of a disadvantage if you are the get-back swooper who's going to be anchored a bit when they go like they did yesterday. So maybe you can walk away and be a bit forgiving and think that his vice-like grip on the TJ is probably the same as it was before the race yesterday.
It's one for our mate Dean Lester, who's very good to us here on Sky. A great form student and loves his racing, of course, and this would have given him a huge thrill.
And especially with teaming up with Robbie, who's just had so much, you know, around the mark in all these Group 1s and Group 1s. He got the monkey off his back yesterday. Jeez, it was a good ride.
He was the best trainer never to have won a Group 1 until this day. Yeah,
for sure. Look at the ride. He just stalks, gets in the slipstream of Chautauqua, peels off it. And look, he hasn't got the ability of Chautauqua, but it was just obviously it's a handicap. That's handicap racing, and away he goes. And he holds on. Blackheart Bart was sensational first up for Darren Weir.
He can sprint fresh, Blackheart Bart. It was a good plan that nearly came off. I thought that I don't know what he was doing on Churchill Dancer over against the fence there, Michael D. Maybe they were his instructions, but he seemed to be out like a shag on a rock there. Look, quarterback, 52 kilos was probably luxury weight for him, given that, you know, he usually races with a lot more weight than that. He got checked at the start by Delectation. I thought he was... He'd run sixth in the Oakley Plate, and he did get home well in that race too. So,
time-honoured Australian Cup. It's time for a market update with Matt.
Thank you very much, Shane. Well, punters, it'd be fair to say, are struggling today. They're, I think it's probably 0-6 for the first 6 races. And as a result, I think there's a set against the favourite here, Bow Creek, because it's out to $3.80 now. I reckon punters are looking for value to try and get something back. Bow Creek at one stage was $2.90, so that can tell you the story there. Our Ivanhoe's back of late. It's 6s into 5s, and Suavito is your market mover. Suavito 8s into 6s this morning, into 5.50 in the last 10 minutes. Preferment got in as low as 5.50. It's
54th time. Bow Creek is the favourite here on track. $3.70 a drifter out to $3.80. Happy Trails at $21. Preferment now $6.50. Extra zeros at $51. Support for our Ivanhoe, $5.50 into $5. Al Moonquith.
Tracks keep thwarting you there. He loves being on top of the ground.
Yeah, he won't. Once it's heavy, he's gone. You may as well just forget him.
Lights on. Racing in the Australian Cup, and he's missed it again, Bow Creek, by 2 lengths straight out the back. Preferment began well with Awesome Rocks for Vito. Rising Romance is up there, and our Ivanhoe is holding his place along the rails as they settle into stride fully now. And as they do so, it's Awesome Rock who's pressing on to go to the lead on the outside. They're all having a look at one another. Who really wants it? Our Ivanhoe a bit keen because he's exposed with the rail, and Rising Romance is right there as well. They still 10 lengths cover them, 1,000 metres to go. and Awesome Rock shows the way. Preferment a length away second, a length and a half away. Rising Romance on the rail. Suavito's around her. 2 lengths to Fenway, midfield on the outside, followed by Our Ivanhoe, Extra Zero, El Moonquith, and then Bow Creek still second last to the bend with Happy Trails on his outside. Awesome Rock the leader, coming down the side to approach the home turn at the 600. He led by a length. Preferment for Vito. Rising Romance on the rail. Fenway coming on about 4 wide when they flatten in. Our Ivanhoe working his way into it. Bow Creek still towards the end, playing for luck as they've entered the straight now. Awesome Rock in front of Preferment and Suavito with Fenway running on. Rising Romance is just behind them. Bow Creek next, and then came Our Ivanhoe coming past the 200. Still Awesome Rock from Preferment, and then Rising Romance. Bow Creek starting to get a move on. 100 to go. Still Awesome Rock the leader from Rising Romance. Preferment digging in. Awesome Rock in front. Preferment stride by stride, but they hit the line. Or close between Awesome Rock, Preferment, who's dived at him. Photo finish. Rising Romance up there with Extra Zero and Bow Creek for the miners ahead of Fenway. Then Suavito, Happy Trails, Our Ivanhoe and El Moonquith back towards the tail. A photo finish here.
The photo will go to the Awesome Rock. Awesome Rock will win the Australian Cup for Leon and Troy Corsons, their first Group 1 as a partnership. Stevie Baxter will just defeat Preferment. Awesome Rock at a huge price wins and defeats Preferment. We've got a photo for third there as well, and Awesome Rock, he went to the front, he dropped the tempo out.
He will. The reason he's down here, it was an incentive from Racing Victoria, and they covered half the quarantine costs if the horse ran in a Group 1. Well done to Racing Victoria, and I guess the VRC. That's a great club, and
I was on Awesome Rock, and I still maintain the other thing. I'm not going to mention its name. The other thing had 400 metres to get past it, and had every chance in my mind. They didn't brush, so we'll talk about that later. But just an indication of the unbelievable momentum dominance of Chris Waller. 12 Group 1s for this season, and I think 59 in his short, spectacular career. He's still a young man. He walks around like a...
Awesome Rock was first past the post, but the stewards determined that Preferment was the rightful winner of the race for interference over the last 400 metres of the Australian Cup. Preferment, a son of Zabil, out of Better Alternative, the flying spur mare for Chris Waller and Hugh Bowman, now a 3-time Group 1 winner. Awesome Rock running really well at a big price, and of course third going to Rising Romance, back to somewhere near her best. Look at Happy Trails. He's produced the best closing fractions of the race from a long way off. It was a muddling run affair. It was extraordinary to see a Group 1 weight for age 2,000 metre contest run so slowly. But let's have a look at the protest vision here. As they come to the home turn, Awesome Rock leads. Preferment ridden on speed yesterday. Tactical masterpiece there, I thought, by Hugh Bowman and Chris Waller in having him bang on pace, because they knew that tactically it was going to be devoid of speed. Now we can see that just the continual shift, Simon, of Awesome Rock bringing Preferment out.
Well, I think it was Ollie that rode Preferment one day over the 1.25 miles from memory, and he jumped him on the speed. There was no speed, and we knew Awesome Rock was going to take it off, so I loved the move forward, and it was a beautiful ride by Hugh Bowman. But we're talking about the protest. Hugh thought it was the 400 before he looked at the replay, Matty, and then inevitably, as it was broken down, as we swing from home, you can see Stephen Baxter in the black cap. He starts 3-4 off the fence. Look at the lines on the track. So he shifts one.
The whole field is going that way. Every single horse.
4, and it wasn't until the 300, until the 200, where you see Hugh Bowman had to steer away from his heels here, not being able to get at him with the whip, which the stewards deemed that cost the horse half a head, and inevitably it was upheld.
Blah, blah, blah. Seriously, one thing that Robbie Griffiths said just before he left the studio before was the ATA is going to push for a limited involvement or no involvement from trainers and jockeys in stewards' inquiries in the future. And I think what happened yesterday was Waller and Bowman sort of convinced the stewards with utter exaggeration of the potential danger of the shift and all that sort of stuff. So lives are on the line, it could have gone belly up and all this sort of stuff. It was just absolute rubbish. And I think the stewards were influenced by that. Look, I think you need a damn good reason to take a race off a horse. There wasn't a good enough reason there. That horse had 400 metres to get past the other one with a reasonable sort of meandering up the straight. And 20 years ago, they would have chucked that out in 5 seconds. Well, I think it's just getting too tight now with the justification. If you win a race, you've won the race. You need a damn good reason to take it off because you have been the winner across the line.
At some stage, I agree with the decision based on Terry Bailey's submission to uphold their protest. From the 300 to the 200, Stephen Baster needed to straighten up at some stage and stop shifting, excuse me, when preferment had committed to the outside of his heel. So I agree with the decision. I feel sorry for the connections of Awesome Rock because
preferment has edged a little closer to Wink. She's clearly the favourite. The Cox Plate Heroine at $2, preferment now into $9. Criterion, who was disappointing first up at $11, along with Kermadec. First Seal Press Statement. Bow Creek still in the market there at $13. We're going to hear more about Bow Creek very shortly with Brad Bishop. Our Ivanhoe at $21, and a Volkstock and Barrel who won a Group 1 in New Zealand yesterday is at $26. Brad, lots to talk about out of the Australia.
The pace set, both jockeys, both Baster and Bowman should have got pinched for loitering. And the other jockey should have got pinched for something else, for not even going up and having a crack. It was run at a farcical pace.
Farcical. From about the 1200, they were 13.5 furlongs until they quickened at this stage of the race. So this race was never going to be any different. The most embarrassing thing I see was where they questioned Hugh Bowman and asked him why about the change of tactics. Please. He's the only one that judged the speed of the race. Every map I saw, he was back second last. But at least Hugh has got the confidence in his own ability to read the speed of a race, which this was absolutely farcical, and it's an embarrassment to call it an Australian Cup. Look, I'm not bagging the field. I'm bagging the competitiveness of the race. It wasn't competitive.
Hugh was the only jockey they shouldn't have questioned.
Correct.
The rest of them they should have had. I thought Ben Melham should have led on our Ivanhoe. He's a horse that obviously a slowly run race wasn't going to
He should not have handed up so quickly.
And he got to the front. I thought he should have led on him, but you could have said that about 5 other jockeys in the race that could have had a crack at leading.
Here's the protest. Here's the protest here. Just there.
Yeah, he shoves out.
I reckon there's only... None of this is relevant to me. This is nothing. They all wanted to be out in that middle part of the track, OK? Yeah. There was one Pratt. Look, I would say it was stiff to lose, but I've got no... I've got no real argument with the decision.
No, I wouldn't have upheld it, but it was a 50-50. You know, that's...
This is nothing. They all wanted to be out in that middle part of the track, OK? Yeah. There was one Pratt. Look, I would say... It was stiff to lose, but I've got no... I've got no real argument with the decision.
No, I wouldn't have upheld it, but it was a 50-50. You know, that's...